my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, watch it burn, burn. 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 Solo with my photo.
You sleeping, Judah, need to wake up. Real Judah, them scriptures. In return, Judah's cold, so I keep a heater for them haters. My mama told me a long time ago that some people, they don't wish you well, so you can catch me in the slab, yeah, by myself. Destination headed to my real woman, known to be virtuous, and I talk to her cause she more real than most you Judas is. I keep guns on me like Bill the Kid, cause I'm knowing these air boys plotting on me. Yeah, I believe in God, but he ain't the only one watching on me. He helped those, they help themselves when I put it all on me. Third degree, I got burners all on me. I'm trying to get to that mountaintop. I used to trip a lot cause I trap a lot. Picture me, trying to straight clock while the kids in the room watching Fraggle Rock. This image, Judah, I'm telling you, you booby face and I'm smelling you. Street smart and book smart, don't play me, man, I waste a cent on you. It's me up in the slab, me and my Romo. I don't need that Judah with me, rolling solo, rolling solo, rolling.
Solo with my photo, solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, watch it burn, burn. Solo with my photo, watch it burn, burn. Solo with my photo, watch it burn, burn. Solo with my photo, watch it burn,
bang,
burn.
Bang.
Solo with my photo.
Yeah, I'm trying to let you know this is what that is. Hey, mess with my big brother and I'm smiting it. I'm militant, it's true, just like Peter is. Hey, we all made mistakes, just like Peter did. Can't hold it against him, can't hold it against him. YASHAYA was coming, he wasn't even tripping. That's why I'm solo dolo riding by myself. Y'all can keep that YOLO down right by yourself. Shout out to Polo, Bible on the day. Yeah, you chasing Satan if you chasing cash. Yeah, I was doing it too, I had a big old stash. Just to stunt to the girls with the fattest, woo! That's my old life, that's my old life. Back when I mixed that old purple with the old Sprite. I had to repent, I had to let it go. Now I go where Ahayah guides me to go solo.
Solo with my photo, solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, watch it burn, burn. 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 Solo with my photo.
I ain't from Cali, but I used to be a valley boy. But I got some of the same tools I had in the valley, boy. But first to last is first, so look to the secondary. But come with play action, bet I blitz from the secondary. Solo, it's the state of mind, the world I'm divorcing it. Can't go to church Sundays with your pastor, Dr. Kevorkian. I made a metamorphosis after I left for Morpheus. Your words can't be my work, see, that's unevenly yoking it. My bars be dark, cause you see, I go to the valley. I come back dirty, but you see, I come from the valley. So dig deeper, I ain't up there with them Pharisees. I speak how they speak, so they can see what I see. Straightforward, no sugarcoating, that's how we love. Spiritual, my nine's my sword, man, my sword's what? It's me in the slab, me and my Romo. I don't need that Judah with me, rolling solo, rolling solo, rolling.
Solo with my photo, solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, rolling solo with my photo. Solo with my photo, watch it burn, burn. 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 Solo with my photo.
Yo, Shalom family. Our praises to Kahi, the Ruach Kadash, the Holy Spirit. Our praises to Enoch, said, that's Ahayah said, the great I am, loving kindness. Our praises to Moses of the Lamb, our minister of forgiveness, Yasha, our Savior. Welcome to another installment of Clear Eyes, No Visine. We are back in our remembrance of our ancient grandmother series. For this is that Adah and Forgiveness episode right here. Yeah, episode 8. And once again, we are in that book of remembrance of our ancient grandmothers. What is the book of remembrance? If you're new to the channel, we got scripture for you. Malachi 3:16. Let's read that. It's Malachi 3:16. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord and that thought upon his name. Yeah. And a book of remembrance was written, fam. We are in a portion of that book of remembrance. Once again, tonight's episode is titled Adah and Forgiveness, right? It's part 2 to our last episode, titled Forgiveness, Messiah Teaches. Most of the Lamb, who the world knows or now calls Jesus Christ, gave us some powerful understanding on his doctrine of forgiveness. We learned that no marriage, no family, no community can survive without forgiveness. Y'all go back and check it out, man. That episode, if you missed it, check it out, right? It's truly a prerequisite to this episode, or at least needs to, be heard after this episode for sure though, man. Because whenever you listen to it, that thing was meat. You understand? Meat. Well, tonight, we're going to go into the account of Adah being abducted on her wedding day. And the task Motza asked her to accomplish for him. What was this task? First, man, y'all mash on the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have yet to do so. Hit the bell so you're notified every time we drop something new. Yeah. Well, let's get that precept so one can remember the task Adah was asked of by Motza. We are going to stay in the same book, in the same chapter. It's the book of remembrance of our ancient grandmothers, chapter 4, verse 18. Lamech has kidnapped Adah on her wedding day. Well, it was at night. It was nighttime by the time he snatched her up, and they stopped in the cave for the night's rest. Lamech had fallen asleep. Right? Let's read though. This is verse 18. And it came to pass later that night in the cave, Aku felt a gentle touch, and hands loosened her bond and gently cleaned the sand from her face with a cool, wet cloth. And when she could look, it was Motza the Lamb, and he spake softly to her. And he said, I am sorry you were treated in such a way. Or I am sorry you are treated in such a hard manner. My heart grieves with you. And his presence was healing indeed. And it cast away all fear and dismay. And the Lord said, if you may, it becomes the children of Enoch, said, to forgive their fellows. For if you will forgive this man for all he has done to you, it will be a great help for me. And it will thwart the plans of the forces of evil, which are meant to change the course of many things, much to the sorrow of my father Enoch, said. And I have need of you to be forgiving and to endure long suffering for me. Damn, yo, that was Motza. That was Motza right there. What does Motza Christ need Adah to do for him though? What was it? Let's keep reading. He said, look what he said. And I have need of you to be forgiving and to endure long suffering for me. Motza needs Adah to forgive and long suffer. Long suffer. That means Motza needs her to stay. Let's keep reading. And in the end, you will be richly blessed, and a multitude of peoples in the earth will find salvation if you continually find your way to forgive him. And upon hearing and seeing these things, I was astonished. And the Lord said further, I will deliver you now if you desire it of me. But if you will forgive him, you'll bring that spirit of forgiveness to a new land. And there you will have children from whom righteousness will ensue to change the course of the earth. And in due time, I will restore you back to your rightful husband, Nahum. So that was the very difficult task Motza was asking Adah to accomplish for him. Adah has just been kidnapped by a vile, wicked man, you dig? And Motza is asking her to forgive this wicked man for all he has He has done all he will do and long suffer through it. This task was needed to be completed so the righteous could be joined with the spirit of forgiveness. Let's read about what she went through for the righteous, for us in these tribulation times. But before we get started, y'all know how we do, huh? Revelation 3:18. Let's read that. I counsel thee to buy of me gold, tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Yeah? And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. Clear eyes, no Visine, family. Let's get it. Let's get it. We're in the book Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers, chapter 4, verse 63. Man, these right here are some powerful episodes, family. And it's amazing to be a part of this understanding and to have an opportunity to work repentance and be something for Moses. And we all had that opportunity for Christ, for Hamashiach, right? We all had that opportunity, so let's get it, man. Let's focus. Y'all get out y'all pen and pads, man. And just, man, marinate on this information, right? Because everyone getting this information at this time, well, more than us, but for sure on this line right now, on this class right here, Moses has an expectation of us, right? The Lord has an expectation of us. He has a task for us like he had for Adah. So we just listen to her and what she went through to complete her task, and how her completing her task benefited the world, herself, and her children. But most importantly, most of the lamb. And Anoki said, right? So man, let's get it. We're on verse 63, chapter 4 of the book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers, chapter 4, verse 63. Let's get it. And it came to pass that I began again to view the doings of Lamech. This has been Aline speaking, looking through Urim. Yeah, let's start that over. And it came to pass that I began again to view the things of Lamech, and I saw that he traveled on for many days westward to enter the rolling hills on the south of the Shaman Sea. Many days, y'all, because remember, they done left the cave. You know what I'm saying? Now he's taking her where he's taking her. You dig? It is many days journey. It's tough. Adah was far from home, huh? Let's keep reading. And when he appeared, Zilla was angry that he brought Adah to their dwelling place, for she was unkept and sour and doty, and Adah was young and radiant and pretty. Zilla is Lamech's wife, y'all. Yes, Lamech was already married. Y'all see that? But was kidnapping another man's wife on her wedding day. Why did he do this? Well, we covered that as well, y'all, in our last episode. But let's go get that precept as well, huh? Y'all go back and check out that episode. Heavy information in there. That's on forgiveness Messiah teaches. We're going to go back there, you know, and check out this. I want to make sure we understanding what we're reading today and why everything is happening. Once again, we are staying in the same book, same chapter 4, verse 15. Let's go back there and let's read that. And it came to pass that after these things, I began to see the wedding of Nahum and Aku, who was later called Adah. And it was during the feast. And I looked with interest because I had seen this matter before with Urim. And I watched for what further I might learn. And I must confess, I was a little interested so I could see if I had gotten it right the first time. And I could discern that Lamech, the seventh from Yatsakad, came to the wedding with a careful plan. And he was a master of the secret society of Seku, which is to say, the secret society of the knife. And his intent was to empower himself over his fellows. Y'all hear that? What was his intent? And his intent was to empower himself over his fellows. You know, that's an issue a lot of people have today, even in the church house, even in the camp house, in the Israelite camp house. Huh? Ones won't openly admit that to themselves. But that's what this Babylonian capitalistic society has taught us. It has given us an intent to empower ourselves over our fellows. We feel that we can't be up unless someone else is down, crab in a bucket, right? So how was Lamech going to try to accomplish this? Let's keep reading. And in order for him to accomplish his designs and wickedness, it could only be accomplished if he obtained a maiden pure and fair who belonged to another. And it all had to be done in secret from his fellows. He couldn't tell nobody. He already wasn't kicking it with these folks over here that he was coming to go jack, rob, and kidnap. You know what I'm saying? From? Nah, he didn't really know them. He got his fellows back where he from, right? That sounds like some kind of witchcraft he was on. What spell was Lamech running? We're going to find out today, right? Let's read. Verse 16. And it was for this reason he had traveled to attend this event that was unknown to his people. For the people of Lamech did not have weddings. And he came intending to steal a maiden to pursue his evil purposes. Evil purposes. Yeah. Let's keep reading. And he had uttered dark sentences, using the element of wickedness in his preparation for this matter, in order to safeguard the success of his undertaking. Spells, y'all. He uttered dark sentences. He uttered spells, right? Spells to safeguard this kidnapping mission he was on, right? So we know Lamech has kidnapped Adah for some kind of evil intention, right? Let's go back to chapter. We're still in chapter 4, but let's go back to where we at, right? Hearing grandmother, right? So Lamech has brought Adah back to his house, and Lamech's wife Zilla wasn't feeling it, Zilla wasn't kept, Zilla was dirty, right? Symptoms of somebody under some kind of oppression, yeah. And even though Adah was a kidnapped young woman, look, on a worst day of her life, she's still stunning, right? Probably even more than usual because it was the day after her wedding. You know, she was dressed up, right? So Zilla wasn't feeling the fact that he brought Adah to their house. It's straight wicked. It's wicked. You ain't mad he kidnapped this other woman? You ain't pleading for him to take her back, or you know, how you gonna help her? You mad because he brought her here because she looked better than you? You mad, Zilla, because your husband brought this victimized woman around you looking better than you? Zilla was complicit with the kidnapping. She was in on it, y'all, right? Let's see what kind of witchcraft Lamech and his wife Zilla was on, right? Grandmother chapter 4 verse 64. Let's read. And Lamech caused Adah to live in a little encampment apart, and it was nestled along a creek in the hills. But Zilla dwelt with her husband Lamech upon the hilltop, so they could survey the land around about. And the young man who followed with Lamech, he being a master of Seku, watched Adah, and in the beginning sometimes brought her provisions. And from a hill to the northwest of her encampment, Adah could view the heights of the regions of Qatar, where she was born. Man, hold up. A prisoner looking at her home that's so far away. A prisoner looking at her home that's so far away. That's tough. Verse 65. And it came to pass that Adah was lonesome for her husband Nahum, and she did not know how long she would remain to dwell in this place. And when she delivered her first child, it was a girl. Wow, y'all. That's cold. So Lamech is having children with Adah, right? Y'all pay attention to what Adah is enduring through while forgiving this wicked man every step of the way. Right? Look at what she has to forgive for. And then look what we struggle to forgive for. Right? This is not meant to make us feel like we're nothing. This encourage us that the Lord asked her to forgive something that we would probably deem impossible to forgive right now. But she was able to. So we should be able to do that. But we might not even never face something that bad. But the moral is the power is of forgiveness. No matter what we're going through, that forgiveness is what preserves us, right? And that's what he's trying to let us know. Even though it's hard for us to fathom in this current state that we're in this current dispensation of time, in this current understanding that we have, it's almost impossible to understand that forgiveness can have such a powerful effect, even in such dire moments. Real talk, go talk to people. I talk to people all the time on the block, right? So-called Christians and all the time, and they struggle with this simple things of faith, right? They they hear what the Bible says and they know what the Bible says, and they say that they believe the Bible, right? But they don't, because when I quote the scripture for this certain situation, they're like, well, man, you know, it's a little bit more complicated than that. I'm like, whoa, you see? It's a lack of belief, you know what I'm saying? And so the Lord wants us to really absorb this account, right? And understand the spiritual things He's in place for us to prosper. Okay? Let's keep reading. And she named her child Naamah, which is the name her after her husband Nahum. Ooh. And Lamech did not know the name of her husband, nor did he ever hear the name of Naamah. Wow. Lamech. Adah loved her husband. Yeah. And named that child after Nahum, her true husband. All praises. Adah was focused on the promise Moses gave her. She was focused on her husband. This is a hard story to hear, y'all. But listen to this righteous woman, right? Pay attention to this righteous woman. Verse 66. And because Adah forgave Lamech, she was not bitter. Huh? That's heavy. Whoa, nah. Yeah, that's heavy. Let's read it again. And because Adah forgave him, she was not bitter. Because she forgave. There's power in forgiveness, family. Because Adah forgave Lamech every step of the way, she was not bitter. Her innocence was not stripped from her. Her femininity was not stripped from her. Watch, y'all. Moses is showing us the power of forgiveness. Look at our lives. We are an injured people, scarred from the wrongs done to us in life. Y'all look at Adah. Look at Adah. Huh? This is horrible, family. Horrible what she's going through, but forgiveness is preserving her more than physically, mentally, and spiritually as well. It's preserving her. Let's keep reading. We're going to start verse 66 over, right? And because Adah forgave him, she was not bitter, nor did she complain in her heart, even though she suffered many distresses. To not complain, family, is a virtue. A virtue I struggle with. I think we all struggle with. You know what I'm saying? When I listen to this, I be like, okay, I try to work hard not to complain about stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't change nothing, right? But man, look what she was going through, man. She didn't have nobody to vent to except Moses. Her prayer game was strong. She ain't complain. Who she gonna complain to? Her children? Have her children bitter? Nah, and she didn't complain. Man, y'all. And she didn't complain. In her heart. She ain't even complain in her heart. Like, you know when you sit to yourself, oh, woe is me, this dude right here, this wicked, No. She ain't even complaining in her heart. Even though she suffered, she did suffer many, not some, not a little bit, many distresses. Yeah, we're going to hone in on Adah today. She deserves many, many, many shouts out and many praises, right? From us. I know she getting in the kingdom of heaven. From us. And how do we do that? By our actions. While she's in her fourth station doing her thing as an angel, she is looking at us move and be encouraged and be motivated and be persuaded by her actions. Man, y'all. Start first. This stuff is hard to me, yo. You know what I'm saying? And because Adah forgave him, she was not bitter, nor did she complain in her heart, even though she suffered many distresses. And with the blessing of living apart, she was able to raise her daughter in holiness of heart, with no guile or thought of vengeance, but she was charitable and lived each day with an innocence of heart. Y'all see the message? Do y'all feel the message? It was a blessing she was set apart, not living in the house with Adah or right here next door where he walking out yelling at, she was set apart, right? Lamech had a purpose for her and he left her over there. It was kind of a good thing that Zilla was feeling a way about her. So, Lamech gonna keep her over there. He don't want to hear his wife's mouth, right? So she's set apart and she's able to run her home in righteousness with little obstruction, you know what I'm saying? Little intrusion. You feel me? She could raise up her house the way she wanted to be. And because of Adah's ability to forgive, right, she did not suffer long lasting mental effects. She didn't suffer long lasting mental effects from the wrong done to her. She ain't suffer that. Oh, she had to long suffer, but you know, people are scarred, got to go to years and years of therapy for going through what she went through. She ain't go through all that. Fine. But the way she raised her daughter, Adah's daughter, Naamah, was also not affected by the sins of Lamech. Definitely there was consequences. That daughter, she had a daughter from another man that wasn't her husband. That was the consequences of Lamech's sin. They're not changing. But because of her righteousness, because of her forgiveness, the effects of that sin were not there, right? There's power in forgiveness, family. Y'all watch this. Let's keep reading. And the strong presence of the Lord comforted them in times of need. What did the presence of the Lord do? I want y'all to pay attention to what we pay attention on this page, because I believe this is what the Lord wants us to know, especially in the time we in, the people who we are, right? We need to understand the presence of the Lord so we can intentionally get in his presence, intentionally stay in his presence, understand what's stopping us from doing so, right? What did the presence of the Lord do? Let's read that again. And the strong presence of the Lord comforted them in times of need. When we are going through horrible, tough times, family, it's the presence of the Lord that brings us comfort. Other things might seem to bring it, but no, not really, right? That's why when ones get caught up in some kind of trouble or problem, ones turn religious. Because everybody's spirit man knows where the comfort is, right? We do things like big liquor, big blunts, you know what I'm saying? Lines of coke and whatever folks are doing to numb the pain, right? But that ain't where the numbing, that you don't want to numb the pain, you want to heal the pain, right? You want to soothe the pain, get rid of the pain. Those things just mask the pain, and then the pain comes back, right? But we read in this last episode as well, his presence took away distress, took away dismay, took away pain, took away fear. Gone. You see her, she don't even complain in her heart. It's just what she's going through is just what it is. Comfort is in the presence of the Lord. That's why Azan, you remember Azan? Azan, we learned that in our episode titled Amori and the Holy Spirit. That's why Azan would walk around talking to Moses out loud. He was trying to stay in the presence through the good, bad, and the ugly. He wanted to stay in the presence. And see here, staying in the presence of the Lord is what's preserving Adah. Right? What did we learn? Forgiveness. Right? What did we learn about forgiveness? What it does? And we learned that forgiveness in the last episode. My bad, y'all. We learned it keeps us in the presence of Enoki said and Moses. That's what forgiveness does. Right? That's why she was able to stay in the presence, and that's why the presence got her through hard times. Let's read. And Naamah grew in grace before the Lord, and Adah secretly raised her up in a knowledge of righteousness. Naamah was a righteous young girl, even though she was raised in captivity. What is righteousness? Understanding that creation is alive. Understanding that Christ is and in through all things, and having an intimate relationship with creation and your family, right? In all element. Human beings are element as well. She taught her daughter righteousness, even though she was raised in captivity. Right? Let's keep reading. Verse 67. And after those days, Adah conceived again. Wow. Man, Lamech knocking her up, bro. You know what I'm saying? In these times, man, that would be hard. That's hard. It was hard back then too. Let me not say that like in that time where she was in, it wasn't hard. No. It was probably worse. I don't know, man. That's tough. Let's read. And she brought forth twin sons, who looked very much alike, identical twins, y'all. And she named one Jabal and the other Jubal. And she moved them with much tenderness of heart. Adah was a strong woman when she walked this earth, family. Let's keep reading. Now, when I look at Adah, it is hard to describe what I see in her. She is little and firmly built and robust, and she is held captive by a vile and evil man who is large and hairy, and he chews on something that causes him to drool in his whiskers. And she has many moments of hardship, but I see in her a woman who in her private moments with her children is amazingly in charge of her life. What does Benalim see in Adah? In her private moments, let's read that again. And she has many moments of hardship. This is a powerful account, sisters. A very relatable account. You may not have been kidnapped, Father willing, right? Ahayah, I hope that, right? But you know about hard times, and still having to raise your children through it. How did she operate in her home, right? Let's read. But I see in her a woman who in her private moments with her children is amazingly in charge of her life. In order, Adah was in charge of her home. She was in order, assertive in her responsibilities as a woman. We are getting a manifold lesson in this account, brothers and sisters. Really pay attention. Man, y'all mashing the like button, subscribe to the channel if you've yet to do so. Hit the bell so you're notified every time we drop something new. Man, this thing fire. Let's keep reading, yo. And while Lamech is the father of her children instead of her husband, it has no effect upon her love for her children. That's right. Right? Let's keep reading. And nothing can seem to distract her from her ability to shield them from bitterness and fear. That's right. That right there is a strong woman. A very strong woman. That's charity. Well, listen to that again, right? Listen to this again, fam. And while Lamech is the father of her children instead of her husband, it has no effect upon her love for her children, and nothing can seem to distract her from her ability to shield them from bitterness and fear. Nothing can seem to distract her from her ability to shield her children from bitterness and fear, right? Brothers and sisters, this is the role of parents. To shield our children from bitterness and fear. From young. We're supposed to do that to them from young. We're supposed to protect their feelings. See? Feelings. We're supposed to protect our children's feelings. We saw too many hard things coming up, fam. I'm going to speak for me. I saw too many hard things coming up. I was in prison before I was 20. Before I was 19. I was in prison. Before I was 17, I had been locked up many years. We saw too many hard things coming up. That's just being locked up and just seeing things, learning things in there, right? What about what I was doing before I got locked up that caused me to be in the environment to get locked up, right? We've seen too many hard things coming up, right? I see other children. I feel like my parents blessed me, right? I feel like my parents blessed me because I know my partners and my people and my other people I don't even know, but I know of in the hood or on the block or in the APTs, you know what I'm saying? That they were going through it, going through it. Seen many hard things. We seen too many hard things from young. We didn't have parents that were taught to guard our feelings, to guard our heart, even though the Bible says to guard your heart, right? But we didn't understand that. But back then in the ancient times, they had a close relationship with Moses, and they had an understanding of what was necessary to thrive in life, the basics, and to protect our children's feelings, to protect our husband, the women, to protect their husband's feelings, to protect our wives' feelings, to protect the feelings in our home is necessary. We saw too many hard things coming up, family. Most of us did, right? Adah safeguarded her children from that. Pay attention to what it did for their lives, right? Let's keep reading. And Lamech goes for long periods without being seen. And yet as her children grow, they can still know the true character of Lamech. They know their daddy wicked, even though he ain't around much. It wasn't because Adah was bad-mouthing him. Look how he moved. He kidnapped the woman. Wicked. Let's keep reading, verse 69. And it came to pass that in the 3rd year after her sons were born, Lamech took Adah away from her for a few days. And he wrought upon her his evil. Man, y'all. And he wrought upon her his evil designs, which Ahayah had taught him. Y'all, what Lamech do? Man, yo. This is a good girl, man. It's a good woman, man. Raised in righteousness. Cool, right? Raised in righteousness. Wasn't around wickedness like that. Huh? Good girl. And Lamech and the devil. The devil and his minions and his legion. Ahayah is trying to destroy this woman through Lamech. Right? What did Lamech do? Start verse 69 over. And it came to pass that in the 3rd year after her sons were born, Lamech took Adah away for a few days, and he wrought upon her his evil designs which Ahayah had taught him. Ahayah taught him witchcraft. Wow. Most have mercy, man. Most have mercy. Ahayah taught him witchcraft, and he was over there running that stuff. Running it on Adah. Why? Read. And she conceived a Nephilim child. What? And she conceived a Nephilim child. This was the intention of Lamech and Zilla the whole time, y'all. Let's start verse 69 over. And it came to pass that in the 3rd year after her son was born, Lamech took Adah away for a few days, and he wrought upon her his evil designs which Ahayah had taught him, and she conceived a Nephilim child. And Adah conceived a Nephilim. So this is also, let's keep reading. Let's read. And it was the first such child to be born upon the earth. Y'all hear that? And it was the first such child to be born upon the earth. And from birth, the spirits of the Decadarchi filled the child, and the infant was vile to behold. And upon seeing the child, Adah was sore distressed. And she cried out to the Lord and said, "Oh, Motsa, how long must I endure?" And she wanted to die. And the Lord said to her, "My daughter, endure a little while longer, for I am here to comfort you." And he knew the full meaning of that which she was doing for him, and great shall be her reward in heaven. Yo, shout out to Adah. Remember, forgiveness is not always easy. The consequences of sin can be so horrible. Forgiveness can be difficult. But we are learning the power we have when we are able to walk with the spirit of forgiveness. But man, hold up, this child was not right. Yes, this account precepts with the Bible. Yes, it does. The precepts with the Bible. It's just not as plain as this account, though. It gives it to us, right? Let's get some precepts. We go to Genesis chapter 4. We're going to Genesis chapter 4. I'm trying to show y'all this in the Bible. Okay? Genesis chapter 4. We're going to verse 19. We're going to read 19 through 24. Okay? Let's keep going with reading. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. Look, this is your Bible. This is in your Bible, right? Our Bible. I don't want to try to sound condescending. I still read my Bible, so it's my Bible as well. But this is in our Bible, right? Genesis chapter 4, 19 through 24. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives. The name of one was Adah. Look at that. And the name of the other, Zilla. Look at this. Y'all see that? Let's keep reading. Verse 20. And Adah bare Jabal. Y'all see that? He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. Y'all pay attention. We just heard that she had twins that looked alike, huh? Verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubilee. It's the same names. And these were Adah's children. Remember? We're seeing the account. Precept on precept. Through thy precepts we get understanding, huh? So I through our lessons here on our channel here at RealJudah, I've been trying to show our people how the enemy has tried to deceive us, how our book has been tampered with, right? But still understanding that the book is what got us here, our Bible is what got us here thus far. So I should be able to precept things, right? Connect things to still show that, okay, I see the path, and okay, you see? So that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to give precepts to show that this is not a story that's brand new. No, we're showing that this story comes from the Bible, but over the process of time, things have been distorted. So let's start verse 20 over, because we just read in the book Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers that Adah first had a child, a girl, right? And we didn't hear her. We haven't heard her listed yet in this Bible, in the Bible, right? But we heard she had a little girl named Naamah. That was her oldest, right? And then she had twins, right? Whose name was Jabal and Jubal, right? So we go to 20. Let's go to verse 20 again. And Adah, we're in Genesis chapter 4, verse 20 here, right? And Adah bare Jabal. Now, invert my bad, y'all. I just want to make sure, because some people might have been hopping in right now. In verse 19, the Bible let us know that Lamech did have 2 wives, Adah and Zilla, right? Okay, let's keep it pushing. Verse 20, and Adah bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. Those are the twins we just read Adah had, right? We just read that. Verse 22. And Zilla, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron. And the sister of Tubal-Cain, was Naamah. Look at that. There go your Naamah. Right, and that doesn't mean that it didn't say that Naamah came from Zilla. It just said the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah, which would be true because Naamah's father was also Lamech. But we know Naamah comes from Adah. That's Adah's firstborn. Right? We'll definitely come back to this precept, if not in this episode, the next episode. Right? We're gonna come back because this precept, this right here, this part right there in Genesis chapter 4, heavy. Heavy, right? I would go. There goes. That's so Naamah. That's her firstborn. We'll see. To further prove. Okay, but let's now go to another precept so we can understand the account through the Bible's perspective, right? So we go to Genesis chapter 6. Genesis chapter 6. We're going to read verses 1 through 4, right? Genesis chapter 6, 1 through 4. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them. So this is a few generations in, because mankind is starting to multiply, right? So right about where we're at right now, right? Adah's like 3rd or 4th generation, right? So this is a few generations in. So let's read this: that the sons of God saw that the daughters of men, that they were fair. You hear that word, fair? It's for the sons of God. Now this is a contention, a point of dispute in the Israelite community about who are these sons of God, or angels can't lay with women, and so when I get this understanding, I see everybody was right, and everybody was wrong. What do you mean, P? Well, because the angels weren't laying with women. No, they were whispering in other men's ears to go get these women, right? And do whatever witchcraft they was doing to impregnate them with this Nephilim seed, or with this Nephilim, which would then be the child of that fallen watcher who instructed him to do so. And what does that mean? Like look at Lamech. Lamech already had a wife, Zilla. He already had a wife that was made for him. That was his wife, right? He wasn't looking for another wife. He went to go get a second wife with the intention of empowering himself over his fellows. It wasn't over lust. You see, remember we dealt with Cain. And he was the first person that did this, right? He wanted twin wives. He wanted to go get those twin wives. He wanted to be the first person with twin wives. See that? And so it was about being in a place of position, empowerment. And we learned that Canaan went through things that made him insecure. And so that's how the devil creep in, through insecurities, through pride, to persuade wickedness. So that's what we get an understanding about these Nephilim. So yes, these were angels that came down, that saw that women were fire. We know the sons of God. We did episodes in our Remembrance of Enoch series. We know who the sons of heaven are, the sons of God, right? They're the Eri Kodeshi and the Decadarchi, right? Holy watchers and fallen watchers, right? And so these fallen watchers come and want to deal with the seed of men, so they could be like God, right? So they can say they created something. You understand? Just pay attention. Y'all go back in our Remembrance Enoch series, man. Y'all check out all these episodes. Catch up with us if it's possible, right? Because we're going to be going into these things as well. In this series, we're going to deal with the Nephilim, See, we're starting to right now. I was saying it all last series. We're gonna get to Nephilim. We're here, right? So this we go. The sons of God saw. This is verse 2 of chapter 6, right? Of Genesis. Genesis chapter 6, verse 2. And they saw that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair. Remember, Lamech had to have a fair woman that belongs to somebody else. Remember, we read that earlier. It seemed like some kind of witchcraft, right? Now we just read Lamech took Adah off somewhere and did some madness. Asael taught him, and now Adah done gave birth to some Nephilim, right? Lamech was working for the fallen watchers, right? The watchers wanted the wives. The watchers wanted to be like God and have their own children. We getting into it in this series, family. God praises. Most wants us to have the true understanding, right? Not just so we can know the scoop, but we can understand how the devil operates. So we can understand how the devil operates. He's showing us the good, bad, and the ugly, so that we won't be caught unawares. Let's keep reading. We'll do Genesis chapter 6, verse 2. Let's go and read that again. And the sons of God saw the daughters of men that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. You see that? That's what the sons of God did, right? That's why Lamech took Adah and had to put up over her, right? What else did the sons of God do? And they took them wives of all that they chose through wicked men like Lamech, right? Lamech already had a wife. He stole away Adah for the fallen watchers. Lamech was the first person to accomplish this, right? That's why all back in the day when I read the Bible, I knew there was something up with Lamech. The Spirit was telling me there's something up with Lamech. I did a lesson or something on it, like on Facebook. I got to go find it. I was like, man, Lamech was wicked. I knew he was from the first lineage of Cain, but I know he was from the lineage of Cain, and I saw that was the first time you see multiple wives. It was in the lineage of Cain. I see right there, that's wicked, right? And I felt like Jabal, where I was wrong, because I felt like Jabal and Jubal was it had like, and Tubal was short for Baal, right? So I felt like he was worshiping Baal because of their names, right? But he was worshiping the devil, but it wasn't because of their names, right? But that wasn't the reason. But the Lord had me he had me going there, right? This made him powerful when he did this, y'all. When he created Nephilim, being the only man that had the knowledge of how to do so, this made him powerful. He was already powerful because Asael used the same Lamech to make the first weapon, which also precepts with first Enoch. Asael taught women to beautify themselves. We see it in this time frame. This is what was happening. We read this in this series as well. The women started beautifying themselves, right? And then and Lamech taught them to make weapons of war, right? And not Lamech, Asael taught them to make weapons of war. He taught Lamech. And that's why the masters of Seku were called the masters of the knife, right? The secret society of the knife, because they are the only ones with weapons. I want you to understand what's going on and how it's precepting with the Bible. All right, let's read. It's verse 3. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. And the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Why? Why he said that there were giants in the earth in those days? Nephilim. Let's read. And also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, you see that? When the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. You see that? So now that we have given some precepts to this account, let's go back to it, right? We're going back to Grandmother chapter 4, verse 70. Verse 70. Grandmother chapter 4, verse 70. And it was Zilla who acted as midwife at the birth. Remember, Zilla is Lamech's real wife. Told y'all she was complicit. She was midwife at the birth of the Nephilim. That's what they were doing it for. They wanted to empower themselves over their fellows. She was using her agency, this woman, this wicked woman, Zilla. We have an episode titled, was it The Power of a Woman? What was that? I can't remember. I gotta go find that thing. But it was where it was showing us the power of a woman and how the righteous women influence their husband towards righteousness, or influence their sons towards righteousness, and the wicked women influence their husband towards wickedness. See, the woman was created to be a certain thing, and the devil knows it, right? But we don't. So what he has done is given sisters a false sense of what's right and wrong, right? We can all repent from it, but this is telling you what's the plight on the world, right? And so you got Zilla, right? Look how she acting towards her husband. Look, I want y'all to pay attention to her attitude and how she move, right? Y'all pay attention to that. That was intentional. You feel me? She's injured. She has insecurities. Things has happened to her. She don't trust. She's not charitable. All that stuff has been stripped from her, right? You're seeing Adah, who had not grown up in that type of life. So she still has that innocence, still has that charity, right? And Zilla doesn't, right? And so what the Ahayah does is he uses that feeling, that energy that she has, and she gives that feeling to her husband, right? But if you go look at the righteous women, they were trying to safeguard their husband's feelings. You remember Aruka and my car? Anytime my car feel bad, she'll go run to go get that thing taken care of. Same thing with Kavah. Man, that boy Yashaayah was out of there, huh? She went in there, did what she needed to do. The Lord came to her and said, make your husband down. He needs you to do something for whatever for him, because she needed to get his feelings on point, because she understood. Those righteous women understood the necessity of their husband. Really understood, not just talk about it, really acknowledged it. They knew. Kavah knew. The Lord taught her in the beginning. He knew her role was to safeguard her husband's feelings. They understood that their husbands could not do what they were supposed to do if their feelings were in the wrong place, because this is all about feelings. We got to feel with their Kodeshi. You got to feel with the Lord. You got to feel with the Most High. And the enemy is attacking our feelings, right? So I want y'all to, man, there's so much to glean from this. That's why we got to read it so many times. That's why I break it down slow on her. And y'all go, by all means, read it yourself too. I've read this account 40 times. It's important. There's so much in her, right? Let's keep going though. And it was Zilla who acted as midwife at the birth. And she took delight in the child. She loved the Nephilim. Ooh. And she took it to raise up. And she was very jealous. And she was very jealous. I'm going to say that again. And she was very jealous that Adah was the one to bear a Nephilim child. And she inquired much of Adah to learn that which Lamech had done to bring forth such a child. And Adah told her everything. She was innocent. That's her. Lamech and Zilla working together. Lamech ain't tell her it was a secret. In fact, I bet Adah was growing with Zilla, appreciated Zilla. She done birthed her children. That's a vulnerable moment for a woman when she's giving birth. And so Zilla came there and did everything to help her have the baby. You know what I'm saying? So when Zilla's talking to her and asking her, probably pretending to be her friend to get information, Zilla was wicked, right? Adah was just giving up the game. Wow, man. Zilla wicked, yo. Zilla was wicked. Y'all gonna see. Sisters, y'all gonna see. It's important to see when you see the character of the ancients, who you don't got to tell nobody either, right? But who do you better resemble? You know what I'm saying? Enoch or Lamech, brethren? Zilla or Adah, sisters? We got to be honest with ourselves. Not to make ourselves feel shame, right? But so we can repent. So we can repent. So when you're reading this, you can read this as a form of reproval. We got the living water talk coming. When you're reading this, you can look at this as a sense of reproval, right? And then, and it's the Lord speaking to your soul, to your spirit. Oh, I'm like this wicked person, man. And then you can repent, right? And then when you repent, come with a plan to repent, and then you're forgiven. So you're sipping on that living water. You got that drip. You hear me? You got that drip. That's what the Lord wants us to hear right here. He wants us to see this. Man, yo. And verse 71, and it came to pass after those days that Naamah, that's Adah's first daughter, nourished her mother back to health. And the Lord came in person to visit her. Man, praise the Most High. And the Lord came in person to visit her, and his presence brought cleansing to her soul. What did the presence of the Lord do? It brought cleansing to her soul. He wants us to know this, family. He wants us to know why we're supposed to stay in his presence. Why we're supposed to get back in his presence quickly when we notice that we're not in it. Why it's considered to be unclean when you're not in his presence or when you're disconnected from him. Come on, yo. Because it's power. That's why the devil wants you to he wants you out of his presence. Yo, run that porn for that, bro, right? Man, run that, what is that called? That Housewives or this whatever. Run that commercial when they got them sisters in bikinis, and then just run that wickedness so we can keep them people disconnected from their power. Keep them liquor stores on every corner. Right. Don't let their pastors be able to teach unless we teach them what to teach. This is the devil working. He working, y'all. You understand? Because he knows the power we have when we are connected to the Father. He knows it. His presence brought cleansing to her soul. Verse 72, and it came to pass that one day Lamech came upon Zilla when she was inquiring concerning the manner that was used to bring forth the Nephilim child, whose spirit was the son of the Decadarchi. The Nephilim child, its spirit is the son of the fallen watchers. You understand that? So you can understand the precept from the Bible to hear why the sons of men did what they did. They considered those Nephilim their children. And you know what I'm saying? The truth, because you go read Enoch, right? First Enoch, that's what the Lord said. You're going to watch your children die. Remember? This precept perfectly, y'all. Perfectly, y'all. Go get these books. Go get these books. Let's start 72 over. I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on here as well. Let me slow down. I get excited. I get to talking quick, man, right? I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on here as well, please, right? Verse 72. And it came to pass that one day Lamech came upon Zilla. Yeah, pay attention to what's going on here. So he done walked up upon Zilla when she was inquiring concerning the manner that was used to bring forth the Nephilim child, whose spirit was the son of the Decadarchi. And he was alarmed. Why was he alarmed? That his secret acts should be made known. He knew Zilla was wicked. Brethren be known when they got wicked girls, man. He ain't even tell her. He was alarmed that his secret acts should be made known. And upon learning this, he caused that Zilla should also be made to dwell in an encampment removed away from him together with her children. Oh, snap. Because he caught Zilla inquiring about information that wasn't her business. Right? Because she was being messy. There's a bunch of mess. Right? There's a bunch of mess. Lamech was leading his home in wickedness, and she was following suit. Right? It's a bunch of mess. But yeah, he didn't want her to know her business. He went and took her to go do that thing, to go get this Nephilim child. He made sure that Zilla ain't know about it. Zilla ain't know what to do. Yeah, she was a midwife to deliver the baby, but she ain't know how to go and make it happen because he understood his power. It had to be kept secret from his fellows. Zilla was mad, remember? She wanted to have a Nephilim child. If y'all go back and look at this account, she wanted to have the Nephilim child, but it couldn't go like that. We're going to see. We'll just keep rolling. I praise to the Most High, man. So he made Zilla move away as well. That's crazy. Satan is a deceiver for real, y'all. For real. He made Lamech feel if he did this wicked act, he would be the man. Right? You would be empowered over your fellows. That's Satan. You would be empowered over your fellows. But now he had to put away his real wife. Come on, man. he had to put away his real wife due to fear of his secrets being discovered, man. I mean, his wife and his real children, his real wife and his children put away. His fake wife, right? This kidnapped woman is put away. He just living a life of stress. Let's keep reading. And he caused his young men to watch her, his real wife, right, Zilla. And it was in this way that he kept his secret act safe with the young men who followed with him, for he had caused them to enter with him into the ways of darkness. And they made oaths of secrecy that were made strong by threats of self-infliction. You see that? So he made them brothers that was watching these women, he made them take oaths, sell their soul type stuff. See that? That same thing when we look at these record labels and all this stuff they doing. You know, you got to have all these people to influence the feelings of the people through movies, through music, influence the feelings, right? And so they sign oaths. Right? We're gonna give them all this money, like Lamech was going through. I'm gonna give these men this information so they can help me do what I got to do, but I got to make them take oaths Because when I give them all this money, they could go left on me, Michael Jackson. They can go left on me, Prince. You know what I'm saying? I got to give them all this money so I can control them, right? So I can bring them down whenever I want to. Same thing back then. Nothing new under the sun, right? Verse 73, and it came to pass that much of his time was needed to restrain the child. What? Listen to what Lamech is going through with this Nephilim. Kind? And it came to pass that much of his time was needed to restrain the child. The child was crazy, yo. This Nephilim was crazy. It was about that action. It was you know when you got them partners that you can't take to the club because they all gonna get in a fight. Can't take this Negro nowhere. Man, we trying to come over here and do this. We brawling with the club. That's the Nephilim times 100. Times 100. You feel me? And it's verse 73 again. And it came to pass that much of his time was needed to restrain the child. And in those days, Lamech began to be sore pressed by the other masters of Seku because his secrets had become known. Oh, man. And he was obliged to fish and hunt by night because he was afraid to be seen openly upon the seashore or on the open plain. And Adah hardly ever saw him. Now, remember Moses said this endure a little bit longer. Right? It's a little bit longer. Right? Oh, it's still many years. Still gonna be there. But look what's happening as soon as he done got this. As soon as he done got this Nephilim, look what happened. Lamech ain't the man no more, is he? Look what's going on. He living in fear. You see the devil? All y'all that secretly worshiping the devil. All y'all secretly doing your witchcraft in the back because he whispering in your ear, telling you what he gonna do for you. Right? All y'all justifying your lies that you told on the innocent, you're whispering to the devil, yo. You might not know it. That's how he operate. He'll make you feel like you're empowering yourself by your actions. The consequences, homie. Look at Lamech. He out of there, right? He ain't the man no more. In fact, he living in fear. Huh? What goes around comes around, my Judah. You understand? He living in fear. Adah ain't did nothing to him. No revenge. She ain't poisoned his food. She ain't spit in his face. She treated him with love and compassion. Watch. Let's keep reading. Verse 74. And it came to pass that Jubilee and Jabal grew before the Lord, and they became very fast runners, and they too were raised up to be holy by the wondrous strength of forgiveness and charity in their mother. You see that? And Adah conceived again. Hold up. And Adah conceived again. Man. And she gave birth to another daughter. You see, Lamech he intentionally went and did witchcraft over there, but he'll come over here and do his flesh with this woman, right? And that's why you got these other 3 children that were not Nephilim. He was satisfying his flesh. And so he came over there. Now you know he got to do it because this Zilla be tripping. He don't got to do it. I'm not saying that. But in his wicked mind state, he got to do that because his wife over here tripping. And, you know, look, it's wickedness. It's wrapped in wickedness. Man. And Adah conceived again, and she gave birth to another daughter. and this is verse 75. Man. And Adah conceived again, and she gave birth to another daughter. And an account of her birth shall be given hereafter. And she named her new daughter Iona. There goes Iona, y'all. That's how the series started. Remember, the Lord told Ben-Elim to think about Iona, and Ben-Elim was like, Iona, we only dealt with her for a short period last series, or last book, right? But here she goes. He finally sees Iona and how she came about. Iona was born in captivity. Yo, it's amazing. And she named her Iona because it was made known to her, listen to y'all, listen, that this daughter would not follow the testimonies of her fathers, but would find in her life a vibrant zeal in her love for the Lord. So Adah had another daughter, Iona. That's the Iona Moses told Ben-Elim, right? To look at. And it's amazing. We see why it said what it said about her in the book Remembrance of Enoch. That made her not understand that she was good, right? Well, because she went against, she threw away the testimony of her fathers. But now we know who her father is. Lamech, a warlock who worshiped the devil, Right? Yeah, she threw that away. All praises to Enoki said. She was bringing righteousness. She was putting her family back in righteousness. And this Iona, we know, is the grandmother of Noah. Right? All praises. But we're going to go into that birth in the future. I think it's the next episode. We're going to go into that. We're going to that birth of Iona. Because that was a special moment as well. You see, Adah went through hard things, man. But she also saw amazing things. Very, very much so. Amazing things, right? Verse 76. And the attention of Lamech was consumed by his conflicts with the wicked. Look at that. And the attention of Lamech was consumed by his conflicts with the wicked and the demands of the Nephilim child. And he would look this way and that way, and he would be afraid of shadows, and he was like a fugitive on the run to escape his enemies, and he began to grow thin and haggard and move about with this desperation. See that? Folks were trying to get at him. He ain't comfortable at all, and he got to take care of the Nephilim child, who about that action, who crazy, who can give up his location at any time. It's crazy, man. Now he getting thin. Remember, he's a fat man. He a big man, big cat, fat chief, fat cat, eating good, right? Now his stomach touching his back, man. Bones starting to show forth through the skin. Yeah, it's getting hard out there, huh? That's right. Nah, we ain't glorifying in the fall of the wicked, but we glorifying the uplifting of the righteous. That's right. Y'all feel good for Adah right now. Lamech, your attention taken up. Your wickedness done caught up. You got to leave the righteous woman alone. Huh? The blessings of the Lord maketh one rich, and it adds no sorrow to it. Right? Boy, blessings of the devil, though. It makes one poor in the spirit. Right? Verse 77. And it came to pass in the 12th year of Iona that the Lord visited Adah in the night, and he told her that the time for her deliverance was near. And he told her that Lamech was coming, and that he had slain his Nephilim son, who was in his 14th year, in the heart of his anger with a knife, and with the violence of the shedding of blood. And the Lord told her that Lamech would seek the lives of her children. And he said, you must hurry and get them up and send them westward, and I will lead them to find your grandfather YASHAYA, and be of a strong hope. Look what Moses just said. And be of a strong hope. And be of a strong hope. Have faith, sis. Have faith, Ahayah. Be of a strong hope. It means something in the spirit. It means something. Listen what he gave her an instruction. Yeah, he told her what to do. He told her what to do, but while she was doing it, she needed to be of a strong hope. Huh? For I will save your children and you will see them again. You got to have hope to do what you got to do. It's your babies. They don't got no wisdom and experience in the outside world. Y'all been in captivity. You done had them in your little box. In your control. Adah had orders. She know how they move. She had to be of a strong faith to send her babies out in the wilderness like that, right? With all these masters of Seiko looming around. They don't know who's who, right? Man, yo. Moses said to have a strong faith. Let's keep reading. Why did he say it? We're going to read why he said it again. Let's read and say it. Because he said, for I will save your children. YASHAYA, right? For I will save your children, you will see them again. And this is a wise purpose in me. Huh? He's saying this is something wise I'm doing. I'm not doing this just for nothing. All that I'm doing is of a wise purpose. He's like, thank you, sis, for getting this far. Right? All this is for a wise purpose. Remember, this is a task most have been doing. Y'all better go back to the beginning of this series at least so you can understand what's going on here. This was a plan that Moses put together. You dig? Because he see the devil doing all that he doing. You understand? And he like, you got me bent, homeboy. You feel me? I created you, homeboy. You ain't about to play me, right? So I got a plan too. And I got power. I got superpower. So when I can go outside of time and space, homie, devil, you bound. You bound to the earth. I'm outside of time and space, homie. I got a plan. So what you doing in 2024, I see you. I'll go way back to the beginning and put a plan in order for it. We should have hope in the Father. Do you feel me? I get fired up, man, because they have set us up to fail. You understand? And the Lord like, nah, I got you. I got you. But do you believe? Man, who do you believe in? I put my faith in God, y'all. I put my faith in God. You feel me? Man. And this is a wise purpose in me. This is Moses speaking. And this is a wise purpose in me. And you are highly favored in the sight of Enoch, said. Man, Adah, you highly favored, so have a strong hope. For you have done all things faithfully that I have asked of you. Man, do y'all hear how he talking to this sister? You have done all things faithfully that I have asked of you. And greater obedience has not been known in all the land. Shout out to Adah. You feel me? Shout out. Man, you see what she went through? You see what she went through? She did it for her love for Moses, not for herself. And Moses knows that. Christ, he knows that. Verse 79. And it came to pass that Adah made haste, and she awoke her children, and she gave them some few provisions and told them all the Lord had said. And she told them the Lord would guide them in the way. And I sat amazed before the Urim to see her 4 children depart westward in the night. And I could somehow sense that her entire contribution to assist Moses the Lamb in his task lay in the lives of those children. That's why Moses said it's for a wise purpose. It's for a wise purpose. Because look at now. Why, man? Come on, why? Because they were taught the power of forgiveness. They would be a walking testimony to the power of forgiveness. That's why it's a wise purpose. Look at us now. Look what we're reading now. Look what we're reading now. In a time where we got an internet, right? In a time where this thing can hit thousands of people on the click. Shout out to Adah. It was a wise purpose by Moses the Lamb. We got to know what he came out to do, right? We talked about that in our Living Water episode. We got to understand why Moses came out into the temple world, what he is meant to be for us. Refreshing, right? A guide in righteousness, right? He wants us to have faith in him. Through all things, we can do it. All things through him. He wants us to know that. Sometimes it get hard. Sometimes you're going to feel some pain. But most are going to be there. Man, let's keep reading. Man, let's keep reading, yo. It's power of forgiveness, y'all. Power of forgiveness. Real talk. Y'all get in your prayer closets, fam. Y'all don't need no elder, no pastor, nobody. The Lord wants a relationship with you. With you. Go sit in your corner. Oh, you ain't married, CHAAKAMAWATH? Praise the Father. Get in your corner. You got time to be by yourself to get in the presence. I'm not saying I'm happy you're not married. I'm not saying I wish I wasn't married. I'm glad for it. I hope marriage on you. But right now, you have the time to get in the presence. All the time if you're not at work. Get to know your Lord and Savior. So that when that special person comes in your life, y'all can know him together. Man, yo. The presence. There's a new time coming right now, fam. We in a new season. Right? There's a line being drawn in the sand, yo. You understand? And so, you look at situations, information that you're getting right now, and you look at it as a blessing. You look at it as the Lord loves you. You understand? To give you this knowledge. Man. Let's keep reading. And Adah told them to find the pool of heaven. See that? And Adah told them to find the pool of heaven. And the people there would know where to find YASHAYA. And she had told them many times that the pool of heaven could remove all manner of uncleanness. Living water. And it was very much a wonderment to me that she did not think to go with them. But she trusted every word of the Lord to her. And he did not tell her to go. So she awaited the arrival of Lamech, satisfied that her children were to be delivered. And in the darkness, they set out on their journey toward the land of Qatar. Obedience, y'all. She had full trust in the Lord. He said, the Lord told her to send your children off. He didn't tell her to go. He said if she did this, they would be okay. It was clear. So she sent them off. She didn't go with them. You think she wanted to stay? Obedience, fam. Verse 80. And I saw that in the dimness of the morning light, they looked back at their encampment from a hilltop, and they saw Lamech come and take their mother away. Adah was in tune to the Spirit. And when them children turn around and look, they had just gained more faith in the Spirit, because what they mama just prophesied just happened. Just happened. Right? And we're going to see how that faith in the Spirit protects them. Protects them. Let's keep reading. And I'm going to start verse 80 over, y'all. And I saw that in the dimness of the morning light, they looked back at their encampment from a hilltop, and they saw Lamech come and take their mother away. And he's searching in vain with many curses. He's searching in vain with many curses to find her children. And he set the camp alight to burn it all. He burned everything up. He was searching for them babies. Like, where they at? He just know they can't go and survive by themselves. Where they at? Okay, you got them ducked out, so I'm going to set this joint on fire. And boy, look at wicked dude Lamech was. But y'all pay attention. Let's keep reading. Verse 81. And with the full light of day, he traveled eastward with Adah. Right? He traveled eastward with Adah. And when he came to the borders of Anak, see, remember, they're in the east. Right? I mean, they're in the west. I'm sorry. They're in the west. So, and I guess where they were at were in between Qatar and Anak, right? But still far west from Anak or Moladeth, or that area where Kavah and Yashakai were dwelling, right? Many months that way. So she told the children, I believe, to go westward, right? Was more towards Qatar, right? And he took her eastward. And when he came, let's keep reading. When he came to the borders of Anak is the settlement of the righteous, right? He covered her eyes to prevent her knowing how to come back. So he don't want her to know how to get back to where she was with him, right? He's trying to protect himself. And I felt in my heart that he could not bring himself to kill her, for she had always been quietly composed and polite around him. Y'all see that, sisters? Wait a minute. What did Gokuram just say? All through this account, man, shout out to all you sisters that still holding it down on these readings right here, especially in this series. I know I ain't no teacher like that, no, I ain't that. I just come straight off the block with it, man. I'm gonna talk to us real, like we on the corner talking about this, right? But I want y'all to shout out to all y'all that be holding it down and coming on these calls and showing love and support any way that you can. We appreciate it, right? But look what I'm saying. There's so much nuggets in here, so much game in here, right? So much light in her. And I know this to be true. that there's a way that a woman can behave, right? Especially when she is your woman, right? She like, you belong to a husband where you're his. Now, I don't want to say belong like you property. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that man belongs to you too. So if you property, he property. You dig what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, there's a power you sisters have, and when you walk in your charity, and your purity, and your holiness, right? There's a power you have. Excuse me. There's a power you have that will lighten the heart of even the hardest man. You understand? That's what you're supposed to bring to your life for your husband, especially in these times, because you know this world has hardened us, right? But you have that power to soften the hardest man. Remember, we learned about that in our episode titled Week 3, Enoch, in our Order of Melchizedek series. It said that women, y'all gift of charity is indestructible, undefensible, right? Like when you walk in your charity, when you pray in your charity, nothing can go against its created purpose and succeed. Do you know what kind of power that is? Well, you see, the enemy knows that. And when he sees y'all, he is terrified. So he runs to his problem. I want y'all to really hear me. He runs to his problem. He attacks you. How does he attack you? He fills your mind up with lies. He tells you that your body is your power, that your subtleties are your power, that your sexuality is your power. But no, not at all. Your charity is your power. Your innocence is your power. Your holiness is your power. You understand? And the Lord is giving it back to you. It don't cost nothing. It don't cost nothing at all. You understand? He said if you forgive, you can be cleansed. If you repent, if you drink that living water, you can be cleansed. And then you can be strapped to the T again with all your power. With all your power, sis. That power that you impart on those children, on them babies you love. You got them. And that power that you empower on your husband you love, or the husband you're going to love, whatever, you got it. Sisters, we, and I'm talking about the righteous, are going to need your power. We're going to have your power. I don't even doubt it. I know what's coming. I'm just encouraging y'all individually to go get it. Because I know y'all going to come back with it. Who? I don't know who, but I know y'all going to come back with it. You understand? That's what's powerful about these lessons that we're reading on here. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Let's keep pushing, yo. I'm going to read that again, though. I'm going to read what Benalim said he felt again. And I felt in my heart that he could not bring himself to kill her, for she had always been quietly composed and polite around him. Even this wicked man Lamech was weak to the charity of this righteous woman. This is another message right there, right? Read it again, verse 81. And I felt in my heart that he could not bring himself to kill her, for she had always been quietly composed and polite around him. But Zilla threatened him often with disdain. Look what the Lord is showing us. The woman he kidnapped treated him better than his wife. We should make sure that when we're reading these things, we understand our world. And I beheld, let's keep reading. I beheld that all this had come upon Lamech because Zilla had spread abroad the news of the exact manner of how Lamech had begotten a Nephilim son. And Lamech was seen by the other masters of Seku to be a man of dishonor, because he had allowed his secrets to become known, and they pursued him with their acts of darkness. Because Adah was quiet and polite at the end, her life was spared. You see that? The wicked man had compassion for her. What do you think Naon, her true husband, feels about those qualities? Right? But his wife, talking about Lamech, his wife went and spread all the information that made her husband a vagabond in these streets. Right? Went and did things that made him feel low and feel bad and ended him. Understand? That's what his wife did. That's what Zilla did. And now, because of her actions, remember, she thought she was weak. Right? She thought she was weak. She wondered, he won't let me do this. He won't let me, he done put me over here and got me over here. She thought she was weak and she was being oppressed. But the only reason she wasn't living with her husband no more was because she was trying to do what she ended up doing. And he caught her. Right? This is not giving Lamech a pass, man. Bro, you opened up your door. Yeah, you made your bed laying there, homie. Right? But what I'm saying is, it's the same thing out here in the world today. CHAAKAMAWATH, Ahayah, You made your bed, homie, lay in it, sis. You made your bed, lay in it. We got to look at this stuff and repent if we live anything like this. If we have a mindset anything like this, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun. We can read this account, look around our world and see it's very comparable. It's very comparable. At verse 83, and it came to pass that Lamech left Adah bound in an empty field with her eyes covered, and he departed away in haste and with much fear, and he hoped no one would ever find her. He just left her there to die because, she was lost in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness, right? Lost in the middle of nowhere wilderness, and she doesn't come from people that travel like that. You dig what I'm saying? So she just missing. And he hoping no one ever find her, but he couldn't put it in his heart to kill her. So he just left her to die. But she has a living God. A loving, living God. Let's watch. But in the first light of day, she heard someone call her name, and it was Nahum. What? And she cried out in answer. And when she heard it was Nahum, the joy of her delivery could not be constrained. And they gazed upon one another, and they saw that they had grown a little older. They saw that they had grown a little older now, and their hearts were one. Akkad. One. And their embrace entered into Adah. Ooh, man. That love they felt went to the heavens. Went right to the throne of God. That's the power of a sanctified marriage, man. And can't nothing try to tear that apart. Look what's going on with Lamech. Look what's going. Y'all pay attention to what's going to happen in Zilla. You understand? But not nobody come across that. Feel me? I've seen a lot of wickedness, yo, from so-called righteous people trying to pit the husband against the wife. Don't do it. Don't do it. The Lord will come at you, man. Look, Derek Kodeshi will come at you. They will come at you. And just because they ain't came right away, they gonna come. Adah was there for 22 years. They still came. Judgment coming. Judgment coming. There's gonna be judgment. You walk around here doing any wickedness you doing and think it's all good because you ain't got bow. There's gonna be judgment. All of us get judgment, yo. Man. And their embrace entered into Adah. Verse 84. And Nahum was guided by the Lord, and he brought her home at last. And I knew that he had traveled many days to get there. And certainly he had dreamed of how to find her before the day the Lord visited Adah. See, the Lord was already working. You see that? He was before he came to Adah and told her to go tell her children to go. He had hollered at Nahum days and days before, because this was the journey was days. For Nahum to get where he was getting to took days. So he had faith in the Spirit. Look at all this faith in the Spirit. Look at all this faith in the Spirit. He caught a dream. In the dream, he said, go here and go pick up your wife. He's like, what? I never seen that place. Go there and go pick up your wife. He out there. And as soon as he started looking and start seeing a place that looked like his dream, he start calling his wife's name. And look who responds. Man, praise the Most High. Are you serious? Praise the Most High. Come on, man. You don't think that grew their faith in the Spirit? Nuggets, yo. That's something I'm over here trying to show our people. We need to have faith in the Spirit. Right? Man. And Nahum was guided by the Lord. I'm going to do 84 again, y'all. I'm going to read that again. And Nahum was guided by the Lord, and he brought her home at last. And I knew that he had traveled many days to get there. And certainly he had dreamed of how to find her before the day the Lord visited Adah. And the Spirit guided him so clearly that he arrived at the empty field, which was in a vast land, just after Lamech departed. So when you get that? So when after Lamech then got to this place and left Adah, at the borders of Anak, but Anak is a big, huge land, right? At the borders of Anak, he done dipped off and hoped no one find her. And moments after he hit the corner and dip, here comes Nahum calling for his wife. Lamech done left far enough where he can't hear, right? And here comes Nahum calling for his wife. It's the Ruach, y'all. Y'all hear that? Adah's husband, caught that dream to get his wife before Moses came to Adah by sending her children. I'm going to repeat that. Before sending her children off. This was a supernatural event. The Spirit guiding him to the exact spot in a huge land. This ain't like, are you serious? This ain't like, I'm going to take you down the road and hit a left right. No, man, you in the middle of nowhere in the wilderness, just walking, trusting the Lord. The Spirit did that. Naomi had faith in the Spirit. Y'all see that, man? Amazing. Let's keep reading. And they traveled in their joy together towards the encampment of Nod. And they were received there with much to do, and they rested in the encampment of the elect. And after these things, word came to the masters of Seku that Adah was now in the regions of their dreaded Mount Mahujah. You see that? The masters of Seku dreaded Mount Mahujah, the land of the righteous. They dreaded it. That's how Zion gonna be found. The wicked gonna be scared to come to our encampments in the wilderness. They ain't gonna even know why they scared. It ain't because we got straps. It ain't because we riding on nobody. No, because they are just scared. The wicked flee when no one pursueth. Right? And after these things, word came to the masters of Seku that Adah was now in the regions of their dreaded Mount Mahujah. And all the masters of Seku began to hunt Lamech with a renewed intent, for they considered the inhabitants of the borders of Mahujah to be their enemies. And all they could suppose was that Lamech had blundered into strengthening their enemies, and they feared greatly that their secrets would be made known to them, albeit they did not know that the righteous took no mind to the acts done in darkness. And none of the righteous sought to find advantage over any of their fellows, you know what I'm saying? Or anyone who lived abroad in the earth. And the wicked considered her delivery to arise from strong mystical powers, for they assumed everyone was just like themselves. You know, that's the problem, right? That's why people be doing stuff to people, because they be thinking everyone like them. They think that you gonna do it because they would do it like that, right? And that's why the wicked folks, the masters of Seku, they thought, man, look, boy, we do all these wicked witchcraft stuff, man, these spells, man, you don't want to gave up the game to this woman. She know all our secrets, man, and she gonna go tell our enemies this. They ain't worried about how they don't move like y'all move, y'all. They ain't doing none of that. They don't whisper with the devil. I trust you straight, but they don't know that, right? The wicked think everyone think like them. They have no thought of righteousness. Verse 86, in the land of the hills south of the Shaman Sea, where Lamech dwelt, was called Elam, because he wanted to be hidden and distant from those who pursued him. And because of these things, Lamech abandoned Zilla, and she and her children were destitute. So Zilla got deceived as well by Satan, right? Let's keep reading. And Lamech fled into the regions of Ahayah to escape and hide from his many enemies, and he was a fugitive. But the masters of Seku greatly desired to obtain the knowledge that Zilla held. And it came to pass that I saw a despicable thing. Watch this, y'all. I saw the father of Lamech, who was called Mahujah, which means smitten of God. Wait a minute, because that's how the people viewed him. I want y'all to understand something. Because that's how the people viewed him. We're gonna learn some new learning, understand the Father giving me, right? Like, they called him that because that's how they viewed him. The ancients named or changed people's names because of how that person behaved and how they viewed him, right? So they called him Mahujah because that's how they view him. Why did the people view Mahujah as a man smitten of God? Let's read. And he took her in, Zilla. And he took her in, and Zilla taught him all the doings of evil. And in time, she bore for him another Nephilim child. Remember, that was her desire. But she didn't fit the requirement of the witchcraft. When Lamech was trying to do it, he had to have a maiden who was the wife of another. Right? Wow, wickedness. This man was her husband's grandfather. That's who she just laid up with to make this Nephilim. Let's keep reading. And it was a girl. The Nephilim that Zilla gave birth to, y'all, it was a little girl, right? Let's keep reading. And it was a girl. And soon it was openly known how it was done. And in this way, the great Nephilim wars began in all the regions of Ahayah during the time just preceding the flood. And children who were brought forth in their conception to hold the spirits of the Decadarchi infested the land, and violence was everywhere, and the inhabitants of Ahayah were filled with fear and dread, and the hand of every man was against his neighbor, and the wicked used the element of their own souls to hurt and kill and destroy. Oh man. Ones use, y'all. They use their own souls. Do y'all see where selling souls come from? Nothing new under the sun. Let's keep going, y'all. It's amazing. And it is known in heaven that this is the greatest evil of all wickedness. Oh my goodness. All this stuff coming out about the music industry and all that. Let me read this again. And it is known in heaven that this is the greatest evil of all wickedness, when human beings use their own bodies as weapons of destruction. The greatest evil? This the greatest evil? Now look, oh man, the movie industry. Wow, verse 90. And it can be said that this great evil precipitated or brought forth the flood unto the destruction of all those in the regions of Ahayah. And I say to you that this great and horrendous evil will show its ugly face in the end of days. This selling your soul thing? Let's read that again. And I say to you that this great and horrendous evil will show its ugly face in the end of days. People are going to be selling their souls. That's what it said. That's prophesying way back then. You know what I'm saying? By the time Ben-Alim wrote this, they was already selling their souls. And I saw that Zilla and Ahayah were both smitten with a loathsome disease, and they passed away in agony. That's why the people viewed him as Ahayah, as a man smitten by God, because he was smitten, but due to his own actions. Let's read. And their Nephilim child ran amok, and the people beheld that a monster was running loose in the land. And Enoch said, mourned of what was becoming of the handiwork of his love. You see why he said what he said in that precept in Genesis chapter 6? That he can't strive with man forever. Look at the things they were doing. Yes, we will be dealing with the Nephilim in this series, yo. But Lamech used Adah to make the first Nephilim. And out of jealousy, Zilla spread the knowledge of it to the wicked world. All right, verse 91. And it came to pass that after viewing all of this sadness, I once again began to view the children of Adah. And I saw that they traveled steadfastly toward Qatar, and the mountains were always in their view, and they followed a band of hills south of the sea. And as they approached the western side of the sea, they turned north and got themselves high up to overlook the Pishon Valley and the sea. And as they surveyed the vast expanse of the valley, they felt despair to be able to find the pool of heaven. They looked around, it was such a huge land. They're like, man, how are we going to even find this thing, y'all? Verse 92, and at this time they had run out of provisions, and they could look down and see that there were people living there who made the smoke of fires, and they held back because they did not know if the society of Seku was there, and they were hungry and tired and afraid. But Nehemiah comforted them and reminded them that the Lord said that he would guide them in the way. Faith in the Spirit. You see that? Faith. Look what their oldest sister said when times started getting anxious and they started feeling despair, right? But Nehemiah comforted them and reminded them that the Lord said that he would guide them in the way. Faith in the Spirit, y'all. Let's keep reading. And when she espied a captivity in a rock, they went in to hide themselves in it and to think of what to do. And by Iona wept, for she was hungry. And the boys ventured out to find water and provision. You know, Iona's the baby. You feel me? She's a baby and she started crying. So what the boys do? We gotta go get it. We gotta be men. We gotta go get it. Right? 93. And it came to pass that they were found by an old man and woman who were picking berries. And they tried to hide, but the old people came to them. And as they beheld the last, they saw they were dressed in a strange manner. And the old man sat himself down quietly for a while, and his wife sat a little while off by herself. And upon seeing this, the boys showed themselves more openly. And the old man approached them gently and said, "Where are you from?" And the brothers did not answer. And he asked, "Who are you seeking?" Jubilee said, we're seeking one called YASHAYA, who is the grandfather of our mother, who is called Aku. And upon hearing this, the old woman came forward and she exclaimed with delight, he is my brother. Oh, praises to Enoki said, look at the Spirit of God. The Lord guided these children in the way like he said he would. You don't think that's boosting up their faith in the Spirit even more as youths? Let's put our children in the same position where they can be getting their spirit or their faith in the Spirit boosted up from youth like this. Let's keep reading. And they all fell into the arms of one another, and tears fell for the joy of it. Yeah, man. Y'all know there ain't no coincidence. Wait till we see. Let's keep reading, y'all. Y'all gonna see the Lord, man. And finally the woman said, let us go, for we will take you to YASHAYA. And Jubilee said, no, wait, for we must go and get our sisters. And they ran back to get them. And upon entering the cavity of the rock, they exclaimed, we have found YASHAYA, come and see. And when they came, the old couple fed them and spoke softly together. And they spoke softly together and passed the night together in the cave. Oh, praises. Moses is amazing, y'all. He wants to help each and every one of us just like that. Just like that. Verse 95. And on the morrow, they all set out together toward the encampment of YASHAYA near the pool of heaven. And they were received with much rejoicing. And the village was on the banks of the stream that flowed from the pool of heaven. So that stream that came out the pool of heaven, that's where this old couple, I know their names, you know what I'm saying? That's what's it, man? I thought I knew a name. Keturah and Yasha, right? They lived on the stream that comes from that pool of heaven, right? And they beheld the wonder of the pool, and they knelt and blessed Enoki said, and washed themselves in the lustre waters unto a newness of life. All praises. And the name of the old woman was Yasha, to Savior, right? For her vision was to rescue the children of the righteous. That was her vision. So her parents is showing us our ancient custom, y'all, our spiritual heritage. Her parents were in tune to the Spirit when she was born, and they went seeking the Lord to ask the Lord what would her vision be, because the Lord wants us to know from the beginning, from young, right? And they understood that her vision was to protect, to rescue children of the righteous, right? And look what she's doing. Look what she just did. She fulfilled her vision because she just rescued some very important children, right? Let's read. And she taught many things at the pool of heaven to call people to walk in the true pathway. And she was childless all her days. So it was determined that she would care for the children of Adah. And her life had a new meaning for her in her old age. And she was filled with delight. Y'all watch this. Let's keep reading. And she told an account of how they came to be picking berries so far away from their encampment. Look at this, y'all. So where they were, remember, the children were way up, and they saw the smoking of burning, a fire, right? But that's way down there. And they didn't want to go down there because, they don't know that the people that say, cool, we don't know who them folks is. But you remember the little boys that went out they found a cave close to where they were at, right? And the little Iona, baby started crying, right? So they're going to try to go get her some food. Iona was probably about 12 years old at this time. Let you know how much time passed when she was born, right? She was about 12 years old. So she hungry, she crying, man. They in the dark, man. They out here in the middle of nowhere. She's scared, you know what I'm saying? So our brothers have compassion on their little sister. They said, we're going to go out here and look for food. When they're out there looking for food close by to where they're at, that's where these people was at. This is where they see these old man, old woman. Now, where these folks at? So they weren't down there by the smoke or burning. They were far away, and we're seeing this. So I'm gonna read that again. I just want y'all to understand what's going on. This is what they said. She told an account of how they came to be picking berries so far away from their encampment. See? So they were far. Where they saw the children was very far from where they lived. Very far from the pool of heaven. For the Lord had urged upon her husband to travel a far distance in his old age, and they supposed it was to discover some wonderful new place to find provision. The Spirit guided Yasha, or it guided her husband, to go hunt for food far away. Yeshua's husband also, Yasha's husband also trusted in the Spirit, right? First he heard the Spirit, right? Let's read. But now they could see that Moses had led them there, and the children found their grandmother Aku, who their mother was named after, and they all were joined in the bonds of love. Powerful, fam. Powerful. Verse 97, and it came to pass that the children were content to learn all they could be taught, and they were unaccustomed to the living with so many people, and they learned concerning the birthplace of their mother, and they were shown where she lived, until Azri, her father, took his family into the northern regions of Anak. Azri is Mahujah, or Jared. We know Jared in the Bible, who is Enoch's father. His name is turned to Mahujah. Azri is his brother, right? And remember, those brothers come from Mahal, I believe. Yeah, they come from Mahal, right? And Rashuya had 2 daughters, which was Baraka and Shemanadab. And those brothers married those sisters, you understand? And so Azri and his family, they moved away from Qatar, right? And they went all the way, as did Mahujah, Enoch's father. They moved towards the land of Anak. They went that way. But see, when the children came, they came to Qatar, where they had grown up at, and they were being shown where her mother had grew up at, right? I just want you to pay attention to what's going on. But see, Naomi, but when her mother got kidnapped, she was over there in Anak though, because they had moved that way. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why Lamech took her back over there. And the children ended up somewhere else, because the children ended up where she had first grew up at, right? But her family moved to the land of Anak. And so that's where her husband was. And her children were growing up where she was born and raised at. I hope that makes sense, right? And okay. And they were shown where she lived, their mother, Adah, where she lived, until Azri, her father, took his family into the northern regions of Anak, by the islands of the Aral Sea. And the children became bound in their souls to all their relatives in Qatar. And it came to pass that the twins grew in stature before the Lord. They grew in stature before the Lord, and they diligently studied the guidance tablets of Enoch, he said. These children were attracted to righteousness, family. Let's keep reading. And the children visited Canaan and Shamar. Remember, Canaan and Shamar are Mahal's parents, right? The children visited Canaan and Shamar often at the pool of heaven. And Jubal found that Canaan did a very curious thing. Y'all pay attention here. He had fashioned a horn of an ayal in such a way that he could blow in it and make a deep and penetrating sound. Canaan, Shamar's husband, y'all, and that's Mahal's father, made something like a shofar, or more accurately said, a trump, right? Read the first. Wait, let me slow down. This was the first one ever made, y'all. It's the first one ever made. And it said it right here. It was a curious thing, right? Let's keep reading. And he said that when the sun shone through a cleavage of a certain rock, it was the first day of the new year. Did y'all hear that? Let's read it again. This is what Canaan noticed from being in tune with his ecosystem, right? And he said that when the sun shone through a cleavage of a certain rock, it was the first day of the new year. This is a major precept right here for my brothers and sisters interested in following the calendar. Watch this. For our brothers and sisters that are agreed that the sun rules and determines the calendar, right? Which means the sun determines when the year starts. For one's agreed, I'm going to give y'all some game. There are 2 different schools of thoughts, right? One group believes the equilux determines when the year starts, right? What is the equilux? We're going to get to that. And the other group believes the equinox is when the year starts. What is the difference between the two, right? What's the difference between the two? The equilux is when day and night are equal and occurs a few days before the spring equinox and a few days after the autumn equinox. That's when the equilux occurs, right? On the equinox, the day or the length of day and night are only nearly equal on the equinox, right? This is because the sun appears as a disk in the sky and the top half rises above the horizon before the center, right? But that's deep. I mean, just tell you what I mean, right? On the equinox, right, it's not truly equal days and equal nights, right? It almost is. On the equilux, it's truly equal days and equal nights, right? It's That day is half day and half night. This is perfect, right? That happens 2 days out the year. In my pursuit of understanding the calendar, y'all, I was faced with choosing which side I would agree with, right? I chose the equinox. I'm gonna tell you why. Because it would be impossible for the ancients in Enoch's time to follow the equinox, right? Because you would need some kind of clock, some kind of device to truly determine that time, right? And plus, the equinox is a different day depending on where you are in the world, right? You can be on this side of the world and it'd be on this day, and you're on this side of the world, it's on this day, right? But the equinox is the same day everywhere in the world. Y'all go check what I'm saying here. Y'all go check me. I'm just a little side note for ones that are into the calendar. This is a precept that precepts directly with this. It gives a lot of light. Now, some of y'all brothers and sisters are following the moon. Like these books of remembrance already let you know, or let us know, that was what the wicked did, right? That's how the wicked reckon time. So I'm not here to call you wicked. I'm just saying we're not on the same path. And so the equinox is the same day everywhere in the world. And you need no electronic device to determine when it is. And there are a few natural locations in the world where this phenomenon that Canaan experiences right here happens. Right? Happens. You feel me? I'm going to put something up right here. Y'all look at your screen and look. These are natural spots, right? Where this happens, what Canaan saw, where a light might shine forth a certain kind of way, right? And you can see it. And I'm going to try to find a video where I'll put a link in the description. I'm going to try. If it's not there, that means I couldn't find it or I forgot, and I'm not gonna forget. So I'm trying to find where you can watch and see some of the natural places where the sun shines to show on the day of equinox, right? Which is the first day of the year every year, right? Day one every year is the equinox. So you are able to get caught back up on time just by knowing their Kodeshi, the creation, right? Our praises. So let's keep going. So watch this. So to hear that this is how Canaan, when I heard and when I read it, this is how Canaan determined without a shadow of a doubt when the new year was, it confirmed my thought process that the ancients would use the equinox because they didn't have any electronics to do that. And I didn't know about the electronics being Decadarchi, right? I didn't know that. I just was trying to use common sense, right? So let's keep reading though. We're in Grandmother chapter 4 at the end of verse 98. And each year Canaan will blow his horn loud and long on the sunrise of that day, the New Year's. And he said it was to announce the new year to all creation. Israel, YASHAYA. This is where our custom of blowing the trumps come from right here, man. This is our spiritual heritage. We ain't done. It's about to get deep. Watch it. We keep reading. We're at verse 99. And when Jubilee, listen, it's important who, right? And when Jubilee heard it, he was moved by the sound to the center of his soul. You hear that? When Jubilee heard that trump, he was moved in the spirit. Have y'all ever felt that? I know I had. Was something that hit you and arrest your spirit? Like, yo, I got to go look at that. What's going on here? It's like when I found out I was Israelite. So I was like, wait a minute. You feel me? And when Jubilee heard it, he was moved by the sound to the center of his soul. And he immediately sought the Lord. What did he do, y'all? He immediately sought the Lord. What are we supposed to do? We're supposed to immediately seek the Lord. He immediately sought the Lord. He was raised up by Adah. You hear me? He was raised up by Adah, another powerful sister. So, I expect nothing less but righteousness from Naama, Javel, Jubilee, and Iona, because they mama was so on point. You hear me? She was so on point. Someone walking around like I ain't even worried about her, man. Her children got to be on point, right? So I'm not surprised that he immediately sought the Lord concerning that which he had felt. Let's keep reading. And the Lord spoke gently to him. With force? No, gently to him. You got to know the spirit of the Lord, right? You got to understand the qualities of the Lord when he's speaking. Look, it's the same. It's the same to everybody, right? And the Lord spoke gently to him by the power of his spirit. So he ain't pull up and walk up to him. No, he spoke to him in the spirit, right? Understand, he spoke to him in the spirit. He had a spiritual conversation. You can have a spiritual conversation with the Lord today, right? But you got to learn how to get in that place, in that presence, right? We do. And Jubilee inquired of Canaan just how it was made, and he asked what it meant for it to be blown. And Canaan said that all the world of creation must be instructed that a new cycle of life had begun. What did Canaan say? Let's read it again. And Canaan said, Canaan is Mahal's father. Mahal is the brother who found the pool of heaven. We dealt with him in the episode called Living Water. Mahal was the one that Micah prophesied his name and all that. Y'all go back and check out this series, yo. But we'll read this again. And Canaan said that all the world of creation must be instructed that a new cycle of life had begun. Dominion, family. Dominion. There go that word again, mama. Dominion. All the world of creation must be instructed that a new cycle of life had begun. Creation is alive, family. Shabua, huh? Verse 100. And it came to pass that Jubilee was very intent to learn of these things, and he determined that he would set himself apart for a while in order to inquire of the Lord concerning the matter. And he went to the pool of heaven so he could purify and fast and pray. And he inquired of the Lord concerning all that he had felt with the blowing of the horn. And the Lord instructed him for some days as to the things related to the horn. And the Lord said, the horn, when it is fashioned so you can blow upon it, is called a trump. And it is a signal horn that all the spirits of life in creation will hear. And all the Kodeshi will give heed to the sound of it. And in this way, they can be summoned and assembled to be instructed concerning all the desires of Enoch said in all things. Did y'all hear that? Young Jubilee set himself apart to hear from the Lord. We'll just go back to that part first. I always want you to see the way of the ancients, right? He went to purify, fast, and pray, because he needed understanding. And he know there's a purity, a cleanseness that we have to get close to the Lord to hear, right? And in the process of doing those things, the Lord came and gave him understanding concerning the Ahayah horn. It was a trump that summons or calls forth the Kodeshi, so they can be instructed, dominion, so they can be instructed with the desires of Enoch, he said. That is the religion of Shabua, family. That's what that is. And I'm going to be doing my best to go into precepts to try to extrapolate that out the Bible too, because the devil wanted to hide this way, right? So as we grow and go through these scripts, through these books right here, I'm going to go and try to extract my best in the spirit, because the Lord got to help me, because I'm just a baby, you know what I'm saying? But he's going to help me extrapolate the doctrine of Shabua out of the Bible so you can see it. It's not going to be a myth, a made up thing. So when y'all walk in it, man, when we walk in it, we're going to walk with power, true power from the Most High. Verse 101, and Jubilee determined to go to YASHAYA and tell him all that he had found out by the richness of the presence of the Spirit at the pool of heaven. How did he find these things out? How did Jubilee find these things out that he was about to go tell YASHAYA? By the richness of the presence of the Spirit at the pool of heaven. Y'all see why it's important we go get in the Spirit? Yeah, we got to separate sometimes. Sometimes we got to separate. You dig? You got to separate, man, and go be with the Lord. Let's read. And upon hearing this, YASHAYA went out alone to seek the wisdom of the Lord. What did YASHAYA do? Well, YASHAYA heard something that arrested his spirit. If y'all are listening to this episode today, the first time you're on your channel, second time, third time, or every time, it don't matter. If something arrests your spirit in this information, we got to do what Jubilee did, right? We got to do what YASHAYA did. We need to go to ourselves and go hear from the Lord. Man, Lord, give me some wisdom on what I just heard, because that sounds powerful. I'm trying to show you the way of the ancients, because I don't do these things. You know what I'm saying? I don't always do these things. Like the Lord have blessed me to see some powerful things come around. I'm just being real, no cap. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna go into what they are. I've just been blessed, but when those things happen, I didn't go and seek the Lord right away for him to give me his view. See, that I need to get back to my roots, my spiritual heritage, right? And that's what I need to do, right? Because this is what they did. Let's keep reading. Upon hearing this, hearing what Jubilee, the light that Jubilee got from the Lord, right? And upon hearing this, YASHAYA went out alone to seek the wisdom of the Lord for himself. And after some days, when he returned, he came and visited with Jubilee. For some days, yo. For some days, man. I'm praying the Father bless all of us, man. It's bless ones who've been charged to do the work, right? To have the time to do these things, man, because that's another thing the enemy does, man. The enemy will just try to cloud your time to where you so focused on paying bills and doing all this, that, and the third day. How can you have the time to say, I'm gonna go away for 2-3 days and just get in the Spirit? and hear from the Lord. This is all intentional, fam. That's why you got to get paid money to get your food. It's inflation, yo. All of it's inflation, but you went and had your seeds and everything, you had your land, you would do your work, you know what I'm saying, and have your stuff growing, and you would have time. If we lived in communities, we'd have time. We'll have all our food and have time if you're in the spirit, right? If you know what needs to be done. Just because you're in a community don't mean you're going to study and get in the spirit like you need to. Trust. That's not what I'm saying. But when that's what your will is, that's what your urge, man, I just pray the Lord do that for us as a people, man. Especially the ones that are charged to teach the word and to understand the word and to bring it to the people, because this is what they have to do. This wasn't everybody in their community doing this. This was someone like Jubilee. He had a charge. RealJudah, he had a charge. Mahal, he had a charge. Mike Carr had a charge, right? We seen people with different charges and what they did to accomplish those things, right? It's amazing. Okay, and after some days when he returned, he came and visited with Jubilee. We in verse 101 in chapter 4 of our ancient grandmother's book, right? Visited with Jubilee. He counseled him that according to the guidance of Enoch, he said, listen to what he's saying. When he went and got wisdom, see this, I'm trying to show y'all something. First, oh, this is deep. It's hit my mind. Thank you, Lord. Watch this. Watch this. First, the horn was made by Canaan, right? The Lord dealt with Canaan. This showing us the power of community as well. So many lessons in here. First, Canaan, who's Mahal's father, he made the horn. He found the cave that had the light and gave understanding on, oh, this happens on the day of the new year. He saw that, right? The Lord dealt with him there, told him why he needed to blow the trump to announce to the Eric Kodeshi that there's a new year coming. So it was Canaan. When Jubilee heard Canaan blow the horn, now the spirit arrested him, right? And said, okay, there's a task for you to do too, little homie, right? What was his task? Well, he don't know yet. He went to go seek the Lord. He went to seek the Lord, and the Lord came back, and he going to tell RealJudah everything. He told him, well, the spirit hit RealJudah, right? RealJudah going to seek the Lord, right? And he come back, and this is what RealJudah is telling you. I'm just trying to show y'all how the spirit is working with the community, with the brethren. It's how it's supposed to be. It's sanctity of marriage right here. It's how the house is supposed to be. How everything. Remember how we got here. Remember Mahal caught a dream. He going to take a walk at night. His mama seeking the Lord. Boom. That spirit confirming each other. Same thing with Mahal and RealJudah. He coming back. The Lord and told RealJudah to go over here and pray, seek him, and that boom. The spirit. We individually seek the spirit, and it collectively brings us together. Oh, snap, yo. And so it's important who you're around, too. It's important who you're around. You have to be agreed. We have to see things the same. We don't have to. We can work our way to get in there, but you can't be in there. You can't do these powerful things with someone who believes that they got to hear the spirit through that man. Right? You can't really do these things, right, when you have someone in your circle entertaining the spirit of Jezebel. You see what I'm saying? It's important who you're around. You dig? And when we're looking at these people, these were powerful men. These were powerful men. Praise God. I'm going to get my spot real quick. These were powerful men. RealJudah was a powerful man. We done got so far hearing his testimony, right? We know about Jubal and Jabal and who their mama was and how she brought them up in righteousness. This is powerful men. And we know about Canaan. That's a powerful man, man. They heard the spirit. We follow these men in this series so far, so we can get an idea of their character. And the Father going to keep us showing us more men. So this series ain't just for women. Trust, I said that in the beginning. It's men gonna get this. We're gonna glean from it too. But we're seeing powerful women and how these powerful women influence these powerful men. It's all go together, baby. The sanctity of marriage, right? All right, let me get back to it though. And he counseled him. This is RealJudah counseling Jubilee. And he counseled him that according to the guidance of Enoch, he said. Remember, we did the episode a few episodes back, the 10 guidances. Listen to what RealJudah said. According to the guidances of Enoch, he said, the people are to purify themselves by sevens in all things. That was one of the 10 guidances. You remember that? If y'all missed that episode, go back and check it out. The original 10 commandments is what it's called. Right? Go check that episode out. That's what he's talking about. There's a precept from that one right there. It said that a guidance of Enoch, he said, the people are to purify themselves by 7 in all things. In all things. See, when this the light that the Lord gave RealJudah on concerning this trump, right? All right, concerning this trump. All right, we'll keep going. And it has recently come to RealJudah from a man who had been traveling in Anak, that Enoch had divided the days of men, according to the desires of Anoki said, and he was instructed in all things regarding the exact manner in which it was done. And upon hearing of the doings of Canaan, RealJudah advised Jubilee to use the trump to instruct and remind the Kodeshi in all things, so that the people could better purify themselves by 7. So let me explain that. When Jubilee came and told RealJudah the light the Most High gave him, RealJudah himself went to inquire of the Lord, right? Well, recently RealJudah had ran into a brother telling him that Enoch had established the calendar. Remember, Enoch and them in way in the neck, month journey, far, you know what I'm saying? And they out here in Qatar, all right? Well, a man doing this traveling between these places and told him about it, and this person explained to RealJudah, I think the person did, or maybe the Lord did when he went to him, I don't want to assume, but RealJudah received understanding on how the calendar worked, right? So after a couple of days of seeking the Lord, RealJudah returned to Jubilee with some wisdom, right? One of the 10 gentle guidances was to purify ourselves in 7s, right? With understanding on how the calendar worked, RealJudah understood that the holy days were 50 days apart, 7 weeks. So RealJudah advised Jubilee to blow the trump every 50 days, or on every holy day, so the Kodeshi could be aware of it. Y'all see that? I want y'all to rock with me. Follow me, man. We about to prove these books some more today, yo. We're going to prove these books some more today. Praise Anoki said. Praise most of the Lamb, man, because we are nothing. We are nothing but servants, but I feel good when I know I'm walking on a path and I see the light. You understand me? I feel good, and you know why? I feel the best because I don't have to follow a man to do it. You understand? I don't have to follow a man to do it. I just get in my secret place and just ask the Lord. And I just be reading slow, you know what I'm saying? I don't got no college diploma. I got a high school one, though, you know what I'm saying? I graduated early, too, y'all, and went straight to jail. You feel me? That's why I graduated early. But we got a brain. We ain't stupid. Don't let the world make us think we stupid because we talk like this and we act like that. Nah, bro, I can sit down with anybody and read. Feel me? I ain't tripping, and you can, too. You can too. Ask the Lord to give you the ability. I bet he give it to you. Huh? Man, I be fired up, y'all, man. Get through this stuff, man. I be crunk, yo. Watch. Let me show you why I'm crunk about this, right? Verse 102. And it came to pass that Jubilee began to blow the trump every 50 days. And at the end of every 7 weeks, and he also would blow it upon high places when the Lord had need for the Kodeshi to be instructed. So not just on holy days, right? But whenever the Kodeshi needed to be instructed, right? We done learn. Y'all go look at the episode called Conditions in this series right here. Conditions. Or was that last? Oh, my bad. It was last series in the Enoch, the Remembrance Enoch series. And it was Dividing the Earth. I believe it's part 2. No, it's part 3. Dividing the Earth, part 3. Conditions. And you will see that it talks about times when you need to go instruct the Kodeshi, right? Well, that'll be a time when you use the trump, right? This is culture, family. Our spiritual heritage. Let's keep reading though. Verse 103. Now word had spread abroad that the father of Baraka had established the use of the trump. The father of Baraka, y'all, is RealJudah. Baraka, the worshiper. Shut up, Baraka, y'all. You know, I'm a fan, man. I'm a fan, man. These is righteous people. These righteous women. And I hope one day to be righteous like that. I hope to be grounded in the spirit like these people were in the ancients, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear their names, after hearing their testimonies, I really believe this stuff when I'm reading, y'all. So I know some of y'all might be getting there, but I'm there. I'm all the way there. You hear me? So when I hear Baraka, when I hear Adah, I be like, man, hold up, man. Better not say nothing bad about him. You feel me? But let's keep reading. 103. Now the word has spread abroad that the father of Baraka had established the use of the trump, and Enoch thereafter used it to divide the sons of men. Y'all see that? So Enoch used the trump when he established, or when he divided the sons of men using the sanctity of marriage. Yeah? Let's get that precept. We're going to go back to the book of Remembrance of Enoch, right? We're going to Adah, chapter 12, verse 148. Right? Let's get that precept. Because when I read this, I was like, oh, I didn't know he used a trump. You know what I'm saying? And it's also letting me know how the times were going on. So that's a whole nother study. I got so much time. I just don't got time to do it, right? But I will. Lord will give me time. I'm going to speak life. You know what I'm saying? But I want to have like a timeline of when everything happened so I can, you know what I'm saying? I feel like it'll give me more understanding some kind of way. I don't know. I just feel it. You feel me? But let's keep reading. And when the altar was blessed, this is 148, when Enoch The book of Remembrance of Enoch, chapter 12. It's called Adah, chapter 12, verse 148, right? And when the altar was blessed, Enoch stood forth before the altar in great power, and he had a kelly, and in it he put the waters of Simcha, and he poured it upon the altar, and the trump of summons was sounded. Right there. And the trump of summons, or as the trump of summons was sounded, they were pouring that water on there. Let's keep reading. And it was the very waters that he had used to divide the sons of heaven. And he used the waters of Simcha as the element of righteousness to ensure that only the Erech Kodeshi would be able to heed the trump of summons. Because Enoch used the waters of Simcha, y'all. That's which is righteous element. Y'all go back to the Remembrance of Enoch series to see what all that meant. Man. Because he used the waters of Simcha, which he used to divide the sons of heaven. Only the Erech Kodeshi, who are sons of heaven, could hear the trump of summons, right? The Decadarchi, who are also sons of heaven, could not respond to it. They were divided. It was a spiritual division. So that was the first trump Enoch, the first time Enoch used the trump, and it was for establishing the sanctity of marriage. And this trump being used by the righteous was established by YASHAYA way in Qatar. And when that word got back to Enoch, that what Qatar felt in the spirit, what YASHAYA felt in the spirit, Enoch felt that too and felt that was good. It was a good thing. And he continued in it, right? But understanding of the trump was first given to Canaan, but then really to Jubilee, right? Really to Jubilee. Canaan was doing it, he know that I'm supposed to do this he understood he was doing it for the Erech Kodeshi. But the understanding was given to Jubilee, the son of Adah. Adah's children were influencing the world. Y'all see that? Just like Moses prophesied that she would do this task for him, which she did. Let's go back to Grandmother chapter 4, verse 103. Yeah, let's go. And it is known that Jubilee had been diligent before the Lord. Y'all listen to this. In all this matter. And accordingly, it became the custom to call 7 weeks of days and 7 weeks of years a Jubilee. And the word Jubilee means to be like jewel. Bars, y'all. Come on, fam. I was reading this and I forgot about Jubilees. I'm like, oh man, Jubilees of 50 days. 50 days. Oh, snap. And that is Jubilee. He was the first one to get the trump and blow every 50 days. Now you like, okay, let's go. Come on, y'all, watch this. Let's go back to the Bible, right? Let's do this, man, because I was like, oh, snap. All right, we'll go back to the Bible and see if Jubilee was really a biblical entity. We've already done this. Just bear with me. We already did, but I told you I was going to come back. So Genesis chapter 4, we're going to start through 17. We'll start at 17 this time, right? Again, Cain knew his wife. I'm going back a little further this time, right? Again, okay, and Cain, who we know in the book of Remembrance is Kene. I won't do that. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Enoch, right? We're going to deal with that account too, but I think that's the book of Remembrance of Melchizedek. Let's keep pushing, right? I want y'all to see this is the lineage of Cain we're dealing with. So when you see this Enoch, you're not going to think this is Enoch the righteous, or Enoch the scribe of righteousness. It's not that Enoch. This is the one who the first city ever was built. And we know cities are not what the Father wanted. So this is from the lineage of Cain, right? Let's keep reading. And called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. Verse 18. And unto Enoch was born Irad. And Irad begot Mehujael. Y'all remember Mehujael who was smitten? Remember? That's in the book of Remembrance. We're in the Bible. That's why I came back here. I wanted you to see the lineage. Right? And Mehujael begot Methusael. And Methusael begot Lamech. So just like in grandmothers, Mehujael was Lamech's grandfather. You see that? Let's keep going. Verse 19. And Lamech took unto him 2 wives, and the name of the one was Adah, and the name of the other Zilla. Look at that. All right, let's keep reading. And Adah bore Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as have cattle. And his brother's name was Jubilee. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ. Look at that. Instruments like the trump. Look at that. Remember, our Bible has been tampered with, or over time, it was written over time, right? So it was more like, what do they call it now? Oral tradition, until they started having written language to write it down. So some of the things might not be as clear as it was in the beginning as the truth, but you can see the similarity. You can see where it came from. That's how you got moving the spirit with stuff, right? There's so much the Lord been showing me about things too. The ancients didn't always just write like in truth. You feel me? Like they didn't always say, oh, A, then B happened, and C happened. No, they would tell a story, right? And the story would have a meaning to it. It was more about the meaning than the actual truth. I hope that makes sense. And so I did something new the Father been showing me just through my studies and trying to understand things, to where you might get some writings and just it's not exactly what happened, but the message is what the ancients were trying to show. So when they don't tell the story of a war, how it actually went down. They will embellish it and say the different things to give the message, the meaning of it, to make it an attractive story, but you can get the meaning. So if you understand the thinking of the ancients and the thinking of people in certain periods of time, you can then understand how to extrapolate truth, right? How to understand what's being said. Right? I hope that makes sense. It might be over the head of a few people, you know what I'm saying? It took me even time to get to that understanding. But so even that, when you're reading the Bible, it might not be verbatim, but check out if you can see the correlation. You understand? Just keep pushing, right? Verse 20. And Adah bare Jabal, he was the father of such as dwell in tents, and as such as have cattle, and his brother's name was Jubilee, the twin. He was father of all such as handle the harp and organ, right? Instruments, right? Look at this though. Jubilee is short for Jubilees, right? To be like Jubilee. That's what it said in the book Remembrance. Let's go to the concordance though and prove that statement the best we can, right? It's true. We'll try to prove that statement the best we can. So first, let's go to Jubilee, right? Jubilee, H3106. That's H3106. You ball from H2986. Man, y'all get y'all pens out, please. Y'all write this down the best y'all can. So Jubilee, or Yubal, comes from, which is H3106, comes from H2986. Stream, Jubilee, and antediluvian Jubilee. Okay, the Brown Driver Briggs says proper name, masculine son of Lamech by Adah, an inventor of musical instruments. That's what you see that? That's what the Brown Driver Briggs says about this Jubilee, inventor of musical instruments. So we're seeing a correlation that's far, right? Let's keep going though. So let's go to Jubilees. Right, let's go to concordance for Jubilees, right? This is where we're gonna link these things. You feel me? We're gonna link this thing. Y'all rocking with me? Y'all rocking with me? Y'all rock with me. Let's go. Okay, let's get Jubilees. H3104. That's H3104. Yobel, right? Yobel. Apparently, watch this, from H2986. Oh, wait a minute. They're both from the same place. They both of these words, Jubilee and Jubilees, got the same origin. Let's keep reading. The blast of a horn. This is what Jubilees means. Oh, look, yo. This is what Jubilees means. The blast of a horn from its continuous sound, specifically the signal of the silver trumpets. Hence, the instrument itself and the festival thus introduced. Jubilee, ram's horn, trumpet. You see that? So Jubilees means ram's horn or trumpet. You can't make this up. You can't make this up, right? And here is the final clue. Both Jubilee, which is H3106 in the concordance, and Jubilees, which is H3104 in the concordance, both of those words go back to the same root, H2986. Y'all go prove that. Just more proof to the books, right? Proof to the books, precept on precept. My whole life is a precept, right? Through that precept, you get understanding, so you should hate every false way, right? Amazing. So we just learned the origin of the word Jubilees, because Jubilee blew the trump every 50 days on every holy day. Amazing. Let's go back to grandmother, chapter 4, verse 103. right? Now, word has spread abroad that the father of Baraka had established the use of the trump, and Enoch thereafter used it to divide the sons of men. And it is known that Jubal had been diligent before the Lord in all this matter, and accordingly it became the custom to call 7 weeks of days and 7 weeks of years a Jubilee. See that? And the word Jubilee means to be like Jubal. And thus were the twins known abroad. And they were joined in their souls in their service to Enoch, said. Amazing, y'all. Let's keep reading 104. And I began to learn an interesting thing. Jabal and Jubal were like all the people in Qatar, for they were prone to travel across the land with speed, swiftly, and they had no hesitation to go great distances in the things they sought, and they could blend into the Eri Kodeshi. Man, whoa, now, you see that? They could what? Read it again. And they could blend into the Eri Kodeshi. So they could make themselves hard to discover, and this seemed to be the way for the many of the men of Qatar. Like, you know how the army commandos and all them, they get all in it, be blended into the bushes, they right there, and you can't even see them. Yeah, that's what the ancients did. Once the men of Qatar, like Jubal and Jabal and others, we gonna read about others who rocked out like that. They ain't no paint, no gun, no none of that. They just blend into their Kodesh because they was in tune with their ecosystem. Huh? Verse 105, but the people of Lamech were sedentary, and they were satisfied to remain close to their encampments, and they fished and grew plants to eat and hunted only close by in certain seasons for birds who frequented the waters, and they gathered a seed during the proper season. Remember, a seed is like wheat. And they were not known to be wide travelers, but they were content to tend to their sheep in their quiet life. It's talking about the people of Anak, right? The people that we're dealing with, the people of Qatar that lived over there by Ahayah. The people of Anak that lived in the righteous area, that were nowhere near the wicked. They were more sedentary. They ain't moving around that much. They had a different view of things, right? But the men of Qatar, verse 106, but the men of Qatar were strong hunters who ranged far and wide. And as I thought about these things, and as I thought upon these things, I began to understand that the Lord had brought Enoch to Anak from among this people, and his accomplishments for the Lord were made possible because he was a traveler. And his entire influence to bring divisions upon the earth came from the culture that has sprung forth from the influence of the pool of heaven. And Baraka, his mother, was even named after the pool, and he had come from the same influence of the pool of heaven. And I think that for this reason, Enoch was often looked upon as an outsider by the people of Anak. I'm gonna keep it real, fam. That's how I felt. That's how me and my wife felt in Iowa, in the Iowa community, right, with Benalim. It was like they had a difference of ways. They were more sedentary, you know, or stayed more in the community, right? Us coming from outside, we were used to moving around. You dig? And we often got treated like outsiders. You feel me? It's just what it felt like. Not. I'm just saying what it felt like. Being 100, I'm relating to the testimony right here. I can really relate to what Benalim is describing. Enoch experienced in Anak. You know what I'm saying? Verse 107. And it came to pass that Jabal also became a hunter, and he became determined that he would go to the land of Moladeth to find sheep for those of his settlement. Remember Jabal? He dealt with the animals. Remember it said in the KJV, where Jabal dealt with the animals and for the people in the encampments. Well, that's what he's doing. And it came to pass that Jabal also became a hunter, and he became determined that he would go to the land of Moladeth to find sheep for those of his settlement. See that? And for Yasha, who he called mother, and in the early and for Yasha, who he called mother, he gonna get those sheep for his mother. Okay, cool, we'll keep going. And in the early spring, he and Jubal set themselves out towards Mount Mahujah, and along the way they met some strangers who pointed out the way to the encampments of Nod. And when they arrived, they slept the night at the place of water. You remember the way of our people? You don't just walk up into the community, man. You just don't be popping up unannounced, fam. You wait at the place of water, and somebody gonna help you get up in there, right? And they slept the night. And then when they arrived, they slept the night at the place of water. That's how they are diligent about their way. You feel me? We gonna sleep here all night. We ain't gonna just walk up in there, right? And in the morning, a young girl came to water her sheep, and she saw them, and she knew by their dress that they were Qataris. They were Qataris, right? Remember we read that? I think it was in the episode it's called the Indigenous Peoples. We read how the people in Ahayah, they wore cotton. Some people wore this, some people wore linen, you know what I'm saying? So you can kind of tell where somebody was from by the kind of clothes they had on, right? And that's the precept of that right there, that she could tell they were Qataris, right? And she greeted them kindly and she asked, which encampment are you from? And they said, we are from the encampment of YashaYah and Aku. And the girl said, there's one here who is named Aku. That's their mama family. Remember, they been gone. They escaped separately than their mama. So that Aku, remember, Adah's real name is Aku, right? And that's their mama, man. It was really exciting, man. 109. And the boys looked at one another with surprise, and they had not known anything regarding what had become of their mother. And Jubilee said quietly, what if it's our mother? And they asked, can you go and tell her that we would like to speak with her? And the maiden hailed the lad and asked him to go tell Naom and Aku that some travelers from Qatar of the encampment of YashaYah wanted to speak with them. And by and by, they were led to the lair of Naom and Aku, and they sat themselves down a little ways off and waited quietly. And when Aku beheld them, she could not restrain herself, and she did not wait according to the custom, but rushed out to them, and their meeting was sweet indeed, and they fell into the arms of one another with tears of joy. And all were overcome with happiness. The twin brothers had found a mother, and the mother her sons. Man, yo. Shout out to everybody that followed this story so far, man. You know what Adah went through. You hear me? Man, most of the lamb is the truth. He promised Aku or Adah. Everything he said came to pass. Verse 111. And Naom greeted them as his sons, and he loved them. And to them, Naom had a familiar spirit, and they called him father. And all the news was spread throughout the encampment of Nod. And Enoki said was well pleased at the fruit that forgiveness bore. And Adah was seen in heavens as one of the great ones of the earth. And the measure of grace meted out to Keneh was sweet indeed. Because you know, Adah or Aku is a descendant of Keneh. Well, yeah, she is. I'm trying to put my math together. No, she's not. But it's what it is that her daughter Iona is a descendant of Keneh. And no, she is, because Aku, I'm tripping, y'all. Aku, her grandmother, is a descendant of Keneh, right? So she is a descendant of Keneh. Adah is, right? So this even someone from Keneh's lineage to be so righteous, it just is a good thing, because the lineage got split up, and you're considered wicked if you're from Keneh's lineage, right? But this is also showing us, no, it's not about being from Keneh's lineage that makes you wicked. It's who do you follow? Who do you behave like, right? Who do you behave like? Because Keneh's from Yasaka's lineage, right? So it's just not about being a descendant of Cain. It's about how you act and how you behave, right? And this is someone who, and most people from Keneh's lineage do not act right, right? But this sister here is an amazing sister, right? And Naom treated them boys like his sons. Remember, Naom is Adah's or Aku's husband. Now, his wife was snatched at his wedding day. You know what I'm saying? And she was gone for 22 years. Not 22 days, 22 years. Not 22 months, 22 years. She was gone. And she come back with other babies, man. She come back with 4 of them. 4 different children. Right? But Naom treated them boys like his sons. And they felt that, because he really felt that way. Adah, man, it was amazing, yo. Sister, she's an example to stay at home. I mean, let me say this the right way. She's an example. She's a stay-at-home mama, man, that changed the world from her house by how she raised her children. She was a single mama for 22 years, right? Maybe not the whole 22 years. I have to do the math on how fast she had her children. But she was a single mama for a very long time. But y'all pay attention to these ancient grandmothers and how they changed the world while still fulfilling their roles as wives and mothers. Roles, brothers. Roles, sisters. Roles, Israel. Roles, Gentiles. It's all about roles, man. That's one thing the Lord keep on pounding in my mind. It's about roles. your purpose, your creative purpose. What were you supposed to fulfill? What is your role? We have a role as a man. We have a role as a woman. I have a role as Peezee. My wife has a role as Ari. Right? We all have roles. We have to discover our roles. And we're understanding that the devil is trying to skew those roles. So look at the things that we discuss in the media. They destroying roles, man. Now, folks, certain things that was clear cut that should be no question are becoming questions, right? Like, you should know if you're a man or a woman, so that role should be easy to find. But now, the devil is at war. He's at war with righteousness, y'all. That's why these things are happening. When you're reading in this thing, it's giving you understanding why the world is going the way it's going. Because he's attacking roles. If we understand our roles, we have the right feelings towards things, and we can walk in righteousness and have our dominion. Verse 112. And it came to pass that the boys stayed the winter in Nod, and they loved Yatsukad and Kapha, and their souls were enlarged by the sweet spirits of the parents of all the living. Ooh, man. It must have been amazing to meet our first parents, yo. Let's keep reading. And a rich understanding of life entered into them, to be exposed to the influence and teaching of their ancient parents. And they were delighted to learn all Enoch had done in naming the sons of heaven. And they felt they could not learn enough. And they inquired diligently concerning the divisions of Elder and of the establishment of Yod and Ma'im. Y'all go, we have a couple episodes talking about the true church of God, which is Yod, and establishing Yod. Man, Yod is the true church, right? The true church. All right, and verse 113. And the heart of their mother was brought to comfort, and she carefully instructed her sons regarding how they were to find their rightful ribs. You remember? Oh, we ain't got there yet. Okay, cool. Okay. So she instructed them how to find their rightful ribs, right? And so we're going to talk in our next episode, we're going to see what the instructions she gave them, right? And we're going to see how she got those instructions. Amazing. And they bonded with all their kindred in the family of Naom. And listeners taught them the teachings of Enoch. And Jabal hunted to give them gifts for their teachings. And from Naom, they learned that their grandparents, Azri and Shemanadab, lived in the northern regions of Anak by the islands of the Aral Sea. And when they departed to return to Qatar in the springtime with their sheep, they went through those regions to visit their grandparents. And Jubal and Jabal were greeted with kindness, and they comforted their old grandparents with the news of their lives in Qatar. For Azri and Shemanadab were raised up in Qatar and listened with great interest at the goings on there. Yeah, see, those were Mahal and Rashuya's children, right? So they grew up in Qatar where Rashuya was living, right? So they were interested to hear what was going on back home. Okay? Let's keep going with verse 115. And it came to pass that these two young men brought a knowledge of Yod back to Qatar. And Jubal was foremost to teach the knowledge brought by Enoch at the pool of heaven. And the rich spirit of forgiveness in their mother resonated in their hearts. And Jubal taught the meaning of forgiveness, and the people openly embraced it. And the testimony of the deliverance of Adah was spread abroad. And the influence of the virtue of forgiveness was felt throughout all the borders of the land. For as the wicked spread themselves in the area surrounding Qatar, instead of hostility, they were met with kindness and hospitality. I want to read that again. That part again. I'll read it again. And the influence, this is verse 116. And the influence of the virtue of forgiveness was felt throughout all the borders of the land. For as the wicked spread themselves in the areas surrounding Qatar, instead of hostility, they were met with kindness and hospitality. And some hearts were drawn towards the knowledge of Enoch, he said, but most looked upon any kindness with suspicion. And thus the spirit of Adah influenced Qatar through her sons, even though she did not return there. And by her innocence of heart, the power of forgiveness swept over the people there to forever influence the lives of men, even beyond the great flood. Her testimony, y'all, concerning the power of forgiveness, forever influenced people. Look, it's influencing us now, because her testimony is once again being told, right? Let's keep reading. And Adah joined mankind to the spirit of forgiveness, and she is the second grandmother Moses used in his task. All praises, man. Shout out to Adah, again, one of those ancient grandmothers. 117. Was that 117? No, that was 116. We were just reading. All right, 117. Now, down this line of women combined with the righteousness of men, the Lord used women to bring the righteousness of Kavah to Qatar, and men could not do it, for it was established by a woman, and it seemed with Kavah that forgiveness was infinite, and this is what the Lord used to establish Shabuah in the land of Qatar. And he had to use it over and over again, and it had to be brought by agency. We got to choose to use forgiveness, right? And not only did Adah have to forgive Lamech for stealing her away, but she had to forgive him for causing her to bear a Nephilim child. She had to forgive him, and that forgiveness was infinite. And Iona came into the world with that power. You see that? What is he saying? She was a woman of she was a woman that holy of Zedekelabab, right? She was predestined in from the beginning. She was created to do what she did. She was created for that moment. She was created to establish forgiveness. She was born with that ability, more than most people, to do that. Amazing. And Iona came into the world with that power, her soul being an element of righteousness. See, her soul was an element of righteousness. The Lord put that in her when he created her. It was very important for her to reach her creative purpose. See, if she would have failed on her creative purpose, like so many do, that would have been grievous to the world, right? Man, let's keep reading. Let's see where I'm at. And great will be the reward. No, and Iona came into the world with that power, her soul being the element of righteousness, and great will be their reward when the people of Ma'in return to Eden. And after reviewing all these things with Urim, I rested a while. All praises, man. Man, that's where we're going to stop for today, yo. All praises. There's power in forgiveness, family. We just read today about the joining of that power to mankind. And it said that a man couldn't do it. A woman had to do it. Right? A woman had to do it. I'm imploring to the people, to my Israelites, man, our view of sisters need to change. Right? With the view that a lot of Israelites have of sisters, we are short. We shout, man. We like, you know, when you hit with y'all some carnology. This brother keep calling me. I'll hit you back, fam. Hit you some carnology right quick. You know when you back in the day, you go get you a sack of some herbs, right? You want to get a half or something. You know what I'm saying? You come back to the crib, it's only 10 grams. You shout, fam. I'm missing something, fam. That's what's happening when we don't view the women the right way. We shout. A sack shout, fam. We don't got all the buds up in here, fam. We're missing something, right? We're missing something. So I implore us to look into that, right? And change that, because the Lord is showing us that he's empowered women. All women, he's empowered. That wife you have in your house, brother, she's very powerful for you. If she's the right one, she's very powerful for you. Honor her, right? We got to learn that this world has taught us differently, and then we get in the truth and it even teaches worse, right? Now, honor her. Real talk. Power and forgiveness, man. Hey, yo, this is one of those discussions where Moses gave us understanding in that last episode. Go back through and soak on it, though. In the last episode, he gave us instructions, and now when we were reading this episode, we saw the power in those instructions, how she lived and what it did for her. And we're going to still see more, because we're dealing with Adah in our next episode as well, and her children, right? We're going to see what that forgiveness done. This is a lesson. Like, you're seeing that he's teaching us things to joining with the Spirit, right? And now all through it, it's not just that episode of Maury and the Holy Spirit. No, since then we've been learning about the Spirit and how to more and more be in the Spirit, right? And now we learn about forgiveness. We're gonna just be paying attention all through the series about forgiveness. Forgiveness is a superpower, major element of righteousness, right? Man, go back through it, man. Soak this stuff up. Get these books if you haven't done so. We are rediscovering the ancient past. We are learning true righteousness. The Bible told us to forgive, right? The book of Remembrance of our ancient grandmothers told us how and why to forgive. Yeah? Right? And the why is more than if we forgive, the Lord will forgive us. Nah. It's bigger than that. It's deeper than that. There's power in forgiveness, family. Man, y'all mash on the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you get to do so. Hit the bell so you are notified every time we drop something new. Remember, y'all, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. As always, I pray this message was for somebody. All praises to Kahi, which is the Holy Spirit, the Ruach Kadash, which gives us all CHAAKAMAWATH. All praises to Enoki said, that's all praises to the great I am loving kindness, Ahayah Christ. All praises to Most of the Lamb, that's our Savior, YASHAYA. Remember, family, we got to love the Most High with all our mind, all our heart, and all our might. And to love our brothers and sisters like the Most High loves them, see them like the Father sees them, and hear them like the Father hears them. Feel for them, family, like the Father feels for them. Boy, it's your boy Peezee. RealJudah. Let go. Okay, it's time to praise and worship. Let go. Let's go. Precept on precept. My whole life is a precept. I say precept on precept. My whole life is a precept. I say precept on precept. My whole life is a precept. I say precept on precept.
My whole life is a precept.
Precept on precept. My whole life is a precept. I say precept on precept. My whole life is a precept. I say precept on precept. My whole life is a precept. I say precept on precept.
My whole life is a precept.
Precept on precept, or are you just counting Jesus? Cause if you just counting Jesus, that's Isus, time moves, Jesus, Zeus. You don't know who you praying to, might be counting demons, dude. Colossians 2 and 8. I hope that they ain't deceiving you. Cause me, I read a scripture too and find out I'm a Hebrew. I don't repent, you best repent and change from the things you do. Like you sodomites that you kick it with. What you ain't never read Leviticus? You best to chill from all them demons shouting. You thought you was too drunk up at the after party. I'm just telling you what the Bible said. I'm just telling you what the Bible said. I'm just telling you what the Bible said. That's why you mad at me. That's why you mad at me. I'm just telling you what the Bible said. I'm just telling you what the Bible said. I'm just telling you what the Bible said. That's why you mad at me. That's why you mad.
Keep on calling up on bullshit, and I don't understand it. Keep on calling up on Jesus, and I don't understand it. Keep on calling up on Yahweh, and I don't understand. I see it, Shaya in that Bible, so that's is a precept.
Precept, 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 precept.
My whole life is a precept.